In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
How are you feeling ahead of this approaching expiration of benefits, with SNAP benefits set to expire on Saturday?
Oh my God, bro!
It's a really scary feeling.
I don't need to fight.
What are you going to do for your son and your daughter? They're young and obviously they need food. Do you have any sort of long-term plan on how you would supplement the money from SNAP if it disappears?
My plan would just be to keep working hard to save money.
Bingo.
And visit the food banks if needed.
Correct.
And keep working the best that I can to stay prepared for those times.
Yes!
You are fake news.
I will eat your ass.
Very fake news.
I'll do it. My children aren't going hungry.
I don't think nothing's funny about it.
Try harder not to suck.
Fed.
All right, America, go to the YouTube right now.
Skag free, whoever he is.
Dude, Matt straight up sucks.
How dare you?
In 5, 4, 3. I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight is our friend Joshy Boy again, which I did not plan on. But speaking of the duct tape production, we had some tech problems before live. I texted Joshy and said, hey man, can you join the show right now? And he said, yeah, sure, I can do that. So welcome back.
Saddle up, partner.
Hello.
We will resolve the tech issues later. Thanks for being available on short notice. Really appreciate that.
No problem.
Anyway, great guest tonight at the bottom of the hour, or maybe a little bit later, considering our late start. I hope she'll be patient. But Kyla Turner is back. And we're going to revive that On the Other Side segment, where we discuss some news from her progressive or left-wing perspective. Tonight we're going to talk about the Argentina bailout and the state of the American farmer, as well as some other topics that she has interest in. She's going to join live, like I said, in about a half hour, so we'll get to that. But otherwise, in the news tonight, the Hunger Games continue, Joshy Boy.
All right.
The state of food stamps is unclear right now, as a couple of federal judges order Trump to keep the money flowing. And Trump says, okay, but how am I supposed to do that? And I guess they're going to do that somehow by the midweek. It's kind of unclear right now. But
yeah,
everybody is starving to death as we stream right now. Trump calls on Senate Republicans to end the filibuster, to end the shutdown. Now, there's way too much resistance from Senate Republicans for that to happen. But if the support was there, is it a good idea? We'll discuss that a little bit, Joshy Boy. I know I'm asking you to take a stance in a debate that you had no opportunity to prepare for, but
I know, right?
We'll try to figure it out.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Michelle Obama says she was the victim of hairstyle norms and that her family was not given grace when they were the first black family in the White House.
Bullshit. What happened to that guy who made dresses for them and whatnot?
Well, I think they received favor in a lot of different ways, but we'll evaluate whether her commentary holds any legitimacy. Later in the show, there appears to be a religious revival among young people in this country, according to some recent polling or surveys. That's a very interesting white pill. I want to talk about that a little bit. And some hoax hate to close, including, Joshy, I've been doing hoax hate for almost a decade, every week.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had hoax love of the week.
Really?
And I think that's what Jasmine Crockett did this week. Hoax love. She says everybody loves her everywhere she goes. And I don't think the claim is very believable.
No.
So we'll listen to that before we're out of here. Of course, we'll catch up with your super chats as well. I got to say hello to our friendly listener-owned business for the evening, and that's our friends at Western Razor Company. We know we're being lied to on a daily basis by our government, by corporate media, and by razor companies too. Think about it. Their ads used to appeal to your masculinity. Then they took advantage of your sensitivity with aloe strips. They kept adding blades, thinking you wouldn't notice how clogged they get, and the more they changed, the more plastic and disposable they became. The honest truth is those other razor companies are lying to your face, and our friends at Western Razor aren't going to take it anymore. That's why their safety razors are 100% metal, made in the USA and made with integrity. The replacement blades are inexpensive too, so you get a great shave and you save money. Because when you buy Western Razor once, it lasts forever. Listeners get a 10% discount on any order when they use promo code MATT10 at checkout. Don't let those other razor brands lie to your face. Go to westernrazor.com, order yours today. Western Razor, the only razor you will ever need. And as always, don't forget about our friends over at Hero Soap Company as well. Of course, they have their many fine offerings that you know them for: bar soap, shampoo, conditioner, and more, including my signature scents, Timberline and Old West. Great smelling, all natural products. Portion of the sales benefit military and first responder charities as well. But some old favorites have returned at Hero Soap as well. For a limited time, you can get the classics lemongrass and spearmint. And outside of my own signature soaps, and with all due respect to spearmint, which is also a fantastic choice, smells just like the gum. The best Hero soap, the best bar soap, is the lemongrass soap. And so anytime that becomes available, you got to scoop it up. But it's that perfect lemony sweet smell. It smells like lemon drop candy. 10% off lemongrass or any of the other fine offerings from Hero Soap Company at herosoapcompany.com using promo code MCListener. Promo code MCListener for 10% off everything from our friends at Hero Soap. Find all the information at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners for listeners. All right, a couple of announcements before we get into the news, Joshy.
Gotcha.
Now, of course, you're familiar, as are listeners of this show, with my soundboard. All the many different sound bites I play throughout the show.
Look at this fat.
Are you gay?
Are you a gay man?
And frequently, people ask me, is the soundboard available? Can I have access to the soundboard? Now, there's no publicly available way to press all the buttons. I don't have like a website you can go to where you can click the buttons and play the sound. However, I have made all the various sounders now publicly available in a Google Drive. You can find that link in the description. And so if you want all the files, I have those now organized in there. And I plan to keep it updated. So as I add different sounders to the soundboard, those are all accessible to you. If you want to just download all the sounders from this production, you can do that. And now that I tally them up, Joshy, how many sounders do you think I have at my disposal?
Throughout the entirety of the show since you started?
Yeah, just like on this soundboard. How many have I saved and organized?
It's got to be at least over 100.
Keep going.
Oh, 150?
Keep going.
200?
Keep going.
350?
Bingo.
Close enough. It's like just almost 300.
Goodness gracious.
So, and it's 750 megs of sounders that you can download. So
my favorite one is the tap the sign one. I like that.
Where do I kind of retired that after this last week.
Don't make me tap the sign.
I got it on disposal though. Anyway, you can have access to all my mini sounders, all 750 megs or so of them, and counting. I'll keep it updated using the link in the description. I also did a couple of appearances this week. I was on the show Truth Teller Tales with Ellen Papa on Rumble, and this was a really cool interview just about my background and what goes into the making of my material. It's about an hour of just a more personal topic, and Ellen was a very nice host. It was I hope this doesn't sound the wrong way, but it was kind of like talking to my grandma. You know, she was just a very, I know that makes, that old lady or something. She was just a very warm, nice lady. It was fun to talk about the story of my personal life and my background with her. So if you have interest in that, you can check that out. That's linked in the description. Again, Truth Teller Tales with Ellen Papa. And then I was on Booker Scott's show, Truth Be Told. That's on America Out Loud. And we were just discussing the news this week. Likewise, Booker is a very nice man with a booming Southern drawl. Fantastic radio voice. So I appreciate the opportunity from both of them, and you can find both of those shows linked right there in the description. All right.
Well, it's nice of you to finally get out of the house.
I didn't get out of the house. I just, went to different areas of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But speaking of different areas of the internet, I know I'm getting old when I don't understand certain memes. You know, like I've heard 6'7" explained a million times. Still don't get it. Don't really care. Do you understand 6'7"?
6'7"?
Good.
No.
Good. I'm glad to hear that you have no idea what that means.
I live under a rock most of the time, though, to be fair.
Good. Well, you need to get out of the house more.
Yeah.
So I guess I get the JD Vance face memes. You've seen these around, surely, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So sometime in the winter, spring, it just becomes hilarious on X to post edited photos of JD Vance's face. And some of them are very fat, and some of them are bald, and some of them are this, and some of them are that.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I can tell, it all kind of blew up when they hosted Ukrainian President Zelensky at the White House.
Yeah.
And JD Vance said something like, you need to be more thankful. And the memes became say please, that sort of stuff. Anyway, JD Vance decided to embrace the meme for his Halloween costume. I guess he did exactly what I did for Halloween. He became a different version of himself. And so does it count as a Halloween costume if you go as yourself? I mean, I have to answer that myself. I don't know. Do you think my costume last week counted, or is that just cheating?
I wouldn't say it was cheating. It's still a costume.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's not cheating.
Anyway, JD Vance goes as this meme version of himself. He deploys, or he reveals this costume late in the day on Friday, right in time for Halloween night. And there's also a video. The White House put out a video of him answering the door, presumably for trick-or-treaters, and delivering the line, say please.
Happy Halloween, kids. And remember, say thank you.
Oh, sorry. Say thank you. Whatever. Same thing. See, I told you I don't get the kids' memes these days. I'm close enough, but you know.
I did find that a little cringeworthy.
Oh, so this wasn't a winner for you?
No, not really. And
thumbs down?
I thought, yeah, and when I saw the hair, I thought, is he supposed to be like a founding father or something like that? That's what he looks like. Or
Their wigs were white, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true. And I thought he was also some kind of washed up musician I never heard of.
Well, that's how I know I'm getting old too, is when JD Vance out memes me or has more meme knowledge than I do. I get it. The faces are funny. They look silly. I do understand that.
Yeah.
Is there more depth to the face memes than that? Or is it just, hey, let's edit his face to look funny?
I don't know. His face does look, his beard doesn't match his face. I will say that.
What?
It doesn't. It just doesn't work.
Why not? I think he's a finely bearded man.
It just don't. I think it's his eyes. Maybe it look like they always got mascara on or something. I don't know.
He does have like a natural eyeliner, although he has great blue eyes too. But I don't know.
I think that's it. All right, that's enough of me unintentionally making fun of JD Vance.
Okay, well, that's enough of me over appreciating JD Vance.
That's a big game, man.
Let's get into something we have more familiarity with, which is the N-word. We are one of your foremost reporters on usages and droppages of the N-word, even things that aren't the N-word but sound like it. Mm-hmm. Now, I assume you've heard of, speaking of beards, Joshy, you've heard of No Shave November, right?
No, I've heard of No Nut November.
Well, that was my next one.
That's disgusting.
Are you participating? No, don't answer that. Will it be N-word November? On Polymarket, the odds of Trump saying the N-word in November have now surged.
The N-word. You know what the N-word is?
Now, Polymarket is a prediction and betting market. You can bet on all sorts of things over there. And I didn't know that they have a whole market of, will Trump say this thing this month? There's all kinds of different words that you can bet on. But for some reason, Trump saying the N-word has surged this week. Polymarket put out that tweet earlier in the week. It's up to 17% chance. Now it's up to, well, it did spike up to 20% chance. Now, I think right now it's at 18. Polymarket does need to clarify, though, because I'm not clear. Does Trump have to go straight up hard R?
Why don't you have the boss to say it right now again?
Fuck you, nigger.
Or does he just have to say the N-word? Because that's kind of Trump's bit, is whenever he talks about nuclear weapons, he asks us if we are familiar.
The N-word, that's a very nasty word.
So I could definitely see Trump saying N-word, because he says that all the time. But a hard R Trump drop?
Now, he would save himself if he used the soft GA, the friendly term, right?
Does that count? Polymarket needs to clarify.
Well, there's a clear difference. The hard R is the insult. The GA, the soft A, right, as we call it, is the friendly term. Boondocks will tell you all about that.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see how this gets resolved. If Trump drops N-word or soft A,
it's not going to do it.
Is that going to count? Are people going to get paid out? I don't know.
Remember that clown, that dude who dressed up as Joker, who was going to say the N-word but just didn't do it?
Well, I forgot about that. I think you and I talked about that, a few weeks or a month ago or something, maybe a couple months ago.
No, this was years ago. This is before.
No, I know, but didn't you and I talk about it like within the last few months? Or did someone else bring it up? I know it was brought up on my stream.
Somebody else brought it up.
Yeah, because I had forgotten all about it, but that was a hilarious bit where he had this countdown, the Joker.
Yeah.
In 3 months, I say it. And then wasn't the bit that he got arrested by the FBI at the end?
I have no clue.
Before he was going to say it?
I don't
like
exactly remember if he got it. I didn't know he got arrested, actually.
Well, it was a bit. I don't think he really got arrested, but that was the joke, right when he was going to say it. The feds finally caught up to him. All right, so it's election week, Joshy. And there are many consequential contests. Of course, there's New York City mayor, where Kami Mamdani is likely to beat Andrew Cuomo, but we'll have to see. There's the Virginia governor and AG races, where they might have an attorney general in that state who hopes your children die and you watch it so that you learn a political lesson. Even the New Jersey governor's race might be fairly close. We'll have to see. But there's also the Minneapolis mayor's race, where incumbent Jacob Fry, the guy who cried on George Floyd's casket or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Like he's Justin Trudeau South, you know? Jacob Fry is facing a challenge from state senator and Somali communist Omar Fateh. And Omar Fateh went viral this week because during a campaign speech, he was waving Somali flags and speaking in the Somalian language and pledging allegiance to Somalia and doing a lot of Somalian things. And a lot of people rightfully think that should be stopped. This is America. What are you doing? The truth is, though, if you're voting in Minneapolis, you're pretty much voting for Somalia no matter what, because incumbent Mayor Jacob Fry does the exact same thing. We all love Somalia.
Somalia hanulato! Somalia hanulato!
Somalia. Somalia. Hiran State. Mawisle. Mawisle.
Well, at least the other guy has some enthusiasm behind his voice. Jeez.
You talking about Fry?
Yeah, Mega Mind's aborted child right there. It's just, he's like, Somalia.
Wait, who's aborted child?
Mega Mind's.
Oh, Mega Mind. Yeah, it's like, I always thought they had the Mars Attacks head shape.
No, dude, straight up
Mega Mind is like the same thing. You're right.
Yeah, that noggin, dude.
It looks like there's a lot of brain in there, but not necessarily.
There's a lot of head, just not a lot of brain.
All right. So now I heard that Jacob Fry, he's so desperate, he's yelling so enthusiastic for Somalia that he is going to go capture Captain Phillips himself just to demonstrate his cred. He's going to take a rusty AK, he's going to take an old fishing boat, and he's going to go get Captain Phillips too. If you're curious if Omar Fateh is going to be your next Minneapolis mayor, it's hard to tell what's going to happen there for a couple reasons. Number one, there isn't much polling. The most recent polling I see has Fry over Fateh by 5%. But that polling is from the end of August. It does show Fateh largely closing the gap since May. But the other complicating factor is Minneapolis uses ranked choice voting, meaning that when you vote, you rank the candidates in order of your preferences. And then the top ones they advance until everyone's eliminated and there's a winner. So we'll find out this week. But the fact that the campaign for mayor in a major American city is focused on who is the most Somalian is already a major loss. So let's see. We got 5 minutes. I don't think we're going to get into the filibuster before Kyla's ready to go. So why don't we talk food stamps first, Joshy? We'll update food stamps, and then we'll save the filibuster talk until after Kyla's here, so I don't make her wait around.
Gotcha.
But it's over a month later. Of course, we are still in the middle of
government shutdown.
Still no indication that either side is cracking. There are no negotiations planned. And now the focus of the shutdown has become food stamps, or SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Now, SNAP funding expired yesterday, kind of. The state offices that administer the money are not sending out the money at this moment because they're not getting the money from the U.S. Department of Agriculture because Congress has not appropriated the money because of the government shutdown. Mm-hmm. Then over the weekend, well, actually late Friday, you had a couple of federal district court judges, one in Rhode Island, one in Massachusetts, saying Trump has to continue food stamp funding with emergency money as soon as possible. And in response on Truth Social, Trump said, well, I don't want people going hungry because the radical Democrats refuse to open the government, so I'm looking for direction from the courts on how to fund the SNAP program. And earlier today, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, we're not going to fight these rulings. We're trying to get SNAP funding flowing again. That could happen as soon as Wednesday. So it looks like the intent of the administration is to get the SNAP funding flowing again. But as I talked about in a video yesterday, discussing some of the rhetoric around SNAP, not just that people are supposedly starving, even though they can't find the starving people. The idea that this is economically beneficial for us that Tim Walz was promoting, you can watch that video on my channel. But there's a desperate search for those supposedly starving or dying of starvation because of the interruption to food stamps. And those people, as far as I've seen, they cannot be located. But CNN and the rest of a lot of reporters and media, they're trying to find these people. Best they can do is find a woman who's enrolled in food stamps. Jake Tapper asks her, what are you going to do now that food stamp money isn't flowing anymore? And she says, I don't know. Guess I'll work hard, save money, maybe go to the food bank if I have to. I might even check in with my local church.
How are you feeling ahead of this approaching expiration of benefits, with SNAP benefits set to expire on Saturday?
It's a really scary feeling. They make it feel like it's nothing we can do. So
what are you going to do? What are you going to do for your son and your daughter? They're young and obviously they need food.
There are food banks around. I personally have been saving, so I'll just be pretty much saving money. And there are a couple of food banks around where we live, and then my home church.
Do you have any sort of long-term plan on how you would supplement the money from SNAP if it disappears for an extended period of time?
My plan would just be to keep working hard to save money, visit the food banks if needed. But since it started, I kind of already started to prepare. So my plan is to keep building what I have and, keep working the best that I can to stay prepared for those times.
All right. So 2 things. 1, congratulations on not having a ceiling chirp, right? That's the first one.
Hell yes.
All right.
Second, you're basically doing what everybody else has been doing. Congrats.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of things in the commentary there. I'm not even saying this to smear this lady. I think everybody needs to think critically about the necessity of this program and the supposed desperation of the people on it. She says that she has been saving in preparation for a potential SNAP shutoff or SNAP interruption or some other kind of rainy day. Now, she has the money to save money. Again, supplemental, I suppose, is the nature of the program. But if she's able to save while on the benefits program, how necessary is the benefits program? In this particular instance, I know she might not represent everybody, but that's kind of a stunning admission. Well, I've been on food stamps for this long, but at the same time, I've been saving a bunch of money for a rainy day. Okay. That means that you don't depend on the SNAP money. She might be low income. I'm not saying she isn't.
Yeah.
But she clearly doesn't depend on it, and it's handed out anyway. She's saying without the SNAP money, I'd have to do what? Well, I'd have to work a little harder. I'd have to be a little smarter with my consumer choices. That's great, though. Yeah. You should be, and you should want to be.
Yeah.
So
the question I have, where's Dad?
I don't know what her family situation is. Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Well, I said you have 2 kids. I was like, well, okay, where's Daddy at?
Yeah. Well, and it's also telling for CNN because, as I mentioned, they want to show almost certainly the most desperate people they can. And the best they can find is someone saying, yeah, it'd kind of suck, but I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Not only could I work harder and save more diligently, but there are resources available in my community. My neighbors might help me out. My church might help me out. There are various food banks or nonprofits. So again, I want to emphasize a few things from that video that I posted yesterday. You can go watch it if you want all the details. But when we think this meme of people starving and they need food stamps, the opposite is actually true. Generally speaking, people on food stamps are on average more obese than low-income people who are not on food stamps. Did you know? I found this stunning, Joshy boy.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's health. It's all about avoiding starvation for desperate people. Not only are those receiving the benefits more obese on average, but did you know that something like a quarter of the revenues for Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are food stamp revenues?
Yeah.
We're helping the poor by propping up massive business.
Yeah. I actually kind of knew that because I used to use food stamps myself many years ago because I actually needed it. But people that I know, people around my neighborhood, people in my city here in Nuga, right? We have a lot of people who are on food stamps.
You can say it.
Yeah. But they buy junk food. That's all they get. They buy energy drinks, chips. They don't buy actual groceries. So that just tells me is that, well, you don't actually need it. You just want it to save your own money.
I also found it report, and I feel like I need to go back and check this because it seemed too large to be true. But according to the Cato Institute, the analysis I saw, it costs something like $12 billion to administer this program. So it costs $12 billion in taxpayer money to shovel billions more to the largest food corporations so that people can buy disproportionately, not exclusively, but to your point, disproportionately junk food. And that is also supported in USDA research on the issue, that those on food stamps disproportionately buy more junk food than low-income people not on food stamps, which is also stunning. Like, we're subsidizing poor consumer choices and poor health outcomes. And of course, for people who are in a low-income position and need assistance on various things, when they have poor health conditions as a result of poor food choices, guess who picks up the bill to try to help them through those poor health conditions? That is also the taxpayer. That is also the public. So the whole thing just ends up being a giant waste, needs to be scaled way back, or better yet, eliminated as a federal program. And for any cruelty that supposedly that is accused of being motivated by or something like that, listen to this woman. Yeah, food stamps are cool, but I have a lot of resources available in my community, and I could do more to provide for my family.
Yeah, I have a buddy of mine whose family is also on food stamps, and he was telling me, well, it might be a little more difficult getting groceries because his family is kind of left-wing and whatnot, so this is kind of a crisis for them.
Mm-hmm.
Me being a friend, I kind of just nod my head, and I was like, I feel for you, but in the deepest pit of my heart, right, I was like, sounds like that's too bad. It sucks to suck, I guess.
Well, and there is and should be help for that sort of person who is truly in a desperate situation. But should it be the faceless taxpayer through the federal government's facilitation, or is it better off if neighbors, churches, community help those people face to face? It's more efficient too. That way we're not spending $12 billion on DC administration and state administration.
Well, they're heavily dependent on government anyway because they're pro-government, right? Something like going to a church for resources, these guys are a bunch of atheists. I don't mean to dog my own friend out, but they don't strike me as the people to go to churches. Maybe a nonprofit, but most nonprofits are also Christian-based. So,
Well, Kyla's here, so I'm going to go talk to her, and then on the other side, we'll talk about how maybe how to resolve this government shutdown or how it might end, because Trump wants to end the filibuster now. We'll talk about if that's a good idea, but we'll save that for the top of the hour, all right?
All righty.
All right, thanks again for joining. I'll take a break, and I will be right back.
All righty.
Stand back and stand by.
All right, my guest tonight is Kyla Turner. Follow her YouTube channel, Not So Erudite. and her X account, also at Not So Erudite, linked in the description. Kyla, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. It's been a few months. How you been?
I've been good. How are you?
Well, I took a break in August, which
Got
we
a
talked a little
baby?
bit about. And we had our third son. So it's a full house. Thankfully, I got grandma and grandpa to help out a little bit. Otherwise, I would lose my mind because it's just a chorus of screaming half the time. But
I'm sure
still
it is.
managing to be productive. But yeah.
So 3 under 5, is that where we're at right now?
Yeah. And our oldest just turned 4. So, well under 5. Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah, but woof sounds so unkind. It's woof at times, but overall we're very happy and it's a great gift, of course. But it's definitely I miss the sleeping days, but
I'm sure you do, yeah.
If and my wife misses them mostly because she allows me to sleep more than she does to try to be productive. But if people don't remember, Kyla is generally of progressive or left-wing political persuasion. We started doing this. We've done a couple iterations of this kind of on the other side segment. And the goal here is not to debate. I'm not trying to dunk on Kyla. I hope she's not trying to dunk on me, but I play good defense, I hope. But it's really just to understand some news stories through a good faith discussion with the other side. So when I messaged you, Kyla, you said, well, I want to talk about the Argentina bailout. I thought that's probably good because honestly, I've not followed that story very closely. And I think my gut level reaction is probably fairly critical of it, but I don't know what your opinion is. So I'll be curious to see what you have to say about it.
How much is your opinion? If I said I liked it, would you be more in favor or less in favor?
You can't influence me like that. I stand on my own principles. All right. I guess if I had to guess, I will be surprised if you like it, but you might surprise me.
So I'm not opposed to bailouts. I think like having a stabilized South America is really good. Here's one of the issues. Number one, watching America First MAGA people bend over backwards to explain how this is America First is a little embarrassing. I get a little bit of secondhand embarrassment for them. This is closer. This is like almost identical. This is like Bill Clinton foreign policy.
Can we back up and just give like a very general description of what happened? It's $20 billion bailout for Argentina is kind of the headline, but can we talk a little bit about the specifics?
Yeah, so it's 40 billion. It's
right,
40
total,
billion.
Yeah.
And
Two $20 billion pieces, right?
Exactly. And then 18 billion yuan from China as well. And then a small loan from IMF, the International Monetary Fund.
China's helping bail them out?
Mm-hmm.
That actually makes me even a little more skeptical because, okay, I'll save that for later. But if I'm going to try to stick up for this a little bit, I'm going to try to rally the MAGA team, as you say.
Okay. So let me give you an overview of what happened, basically. So calling it a bailout, a lot of people who are conservative might take issue with that because fundamentally it's a currency swap, which is in many ways in foreign policy, it's still a bailout. It's just a bailout. It's essentially a loan. They've got now 20 billion pesos worth was exchanged, USD was exchanged to America. And we gave them 20 billion US dollars to put in their central bank that they can basically hopefully utilize to stabilize their economy. And the reason that we did that, it's very similar to what we did for Mexico. It's because the US dollar is how a lot of economies back there. It's a very stable, trustworthy, everyone believes in it. It's like, it's almost like gold backing your currency now. The US dollar is like that stable.
Is it really that good?
Yeah.
It might be. It's better than a lot, but is it not? Anyway,
it's better than crypto backing, which is your other hedge, right?
Right. So, if I had to take a world currency, I probably still will pick the dollar. You're right.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to gold as well, right? Which is that like you have to basically force scarcity, which is a weird thing to do. Anyways, hedging aside, we essentially gave them this bailout because they have been in economic freefall for, frankly, 70 years. They have been bailed out and supported and loaned basically since like the 1930s. It really escalated in the 1950s. The issue is that mostly it's been coming from a company called, from an institute called the IMF. Ooh, there's two of me right now.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to you sound like you're on an important run here. So I thought, why not put her up full screen? If that's distracting to you, I don't know.
You could do both. I just didn't expect it.
It's like talking to yourself in a mirror. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're like facing each other. We're about to fight. Yeah. So basically, Argentina's been in economic freefall for a long time. They've actually changed which currency they use multiple times as a way to try to like bring themselves back. And one of the large reasons is because Argentina has a very self-isolationist economic policy and is kind of stuck to that, despite it not being the best effort. So recently, Argentina's basically asked for help. Trump has offered the help. So IMF gave them another loan. China gave them a loan, and then we gave them the currency swap. Here's the issue to me with Argentina and why this is a little bit different than like the tequila crisis. So the most similar comparison in policy we can make is to when Bill Clinton in 1995 basically loaned Mexico a bunch of money to basically restabilize its money during the tequila crisis when they were experiencing inflation, which was moving towards hyperinflation. Remember, 2% is what a healthy inflation rate is. So if you're seeing anything in like the triple digits, that's you have an economy free falling into death. That's really, really bad. That's where you're going to start seeing people burning pesos because it's better as firewood than as currency.
Yeah.
So what Milei did when he took over is he devalued his own currency by 50%, and then he basically completely cut off the tap for government spending, hoping that that would stabilize the government. It didn't, because unfortunately, government spending is a really good way to incentivize jobs and job creation and government contracts, whatnot. So it didn't stabilize anything. They've still been in kind of like inflation free fall. And the goal is that the 20 billion will help them kind of pay off some of their debts, get their deficits back under control, and hopefully stabilize their economy. And some of the requirements have been a laxing of like trade agreements, for example, so that they trade more openly with people because they've been very aversive to too many imports from other countries in the past.
Okay. So in my, without reading too much about this, from my general perspective, I'm not a fan of a lot of intervention or meddling in other countries in general, whether it's economic, whether it's militarily, however you want. But since I kind of expected you would be pretty critical of this, and I think rightly so, I think this might be an area where we probably have maybe some areas of agreement. I don't know if I agree with the economic theory about government spending being necessarily beneficial, but Argentina sounds like they've built an economy that largely depends on that in a lot of ways. And now Milei is ripping off the Band-Aid, right? Is basically what's happened. But I'm going to try to be...
Sort of.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I'll just give it to you for now.
Okay.
Not
yeah,
really, but sure.
The point I'm trying to get at is that, or what I'm trying to do is steelman the MAGA perspective here, or just steelman the Trump reasons for doing this, even if I don't know that I buy them fully. But tell me how you respond to these things. I know you mentioned that it's important to have potentially allies in the region. South America, obviously, we have a lot of problems with countries there in terms of what's being sent here, drugs, people, hostility toward this country in general.
Yep.
Is there any benefit to having a strong U.S. allied Argentina that might be, as I read Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, talking about this, if Argentina is a strong U.S. ally that's a beacon to the other countries in South America, that will help us long term. You know, we'll get benefit out of this deal that way. Do you buy that or do you not?
So this is a very like liberal foreign policy strategy that does work to some. This is what U.S. aid was, right? U.S. aid wasn't because we just felt really benevolent and wanted to help people. U.S. aid actually secured economic relationships with countries that would allow us to build like military policy. It allowed us to have certain sway on their policy. And it basically like bought some level of loyalty towards America. So there is an argument to be made there. It's cruxed on a couple of things though. And one of the most important things that it's cruxed upon is Argentina stabilizing. The only other thing that's important about Argentina is that it's a massive hub for lithium. But most importantly, I think for probably on the conservative side is they don't want China to build a better relationship to this.
Yeah.
The problem to me with Argentina bailout specifically in the time that it's coming is it led to a disaster for soybean farmers in America. And now it's leading to disaster for beef farmers because he's increasing Argentina beef imports. So it's decimating the beef industry in America as well. But on top of that, it's betting on a country that has defaulted 9 times on its loan to pay us back, which I don't know if I'm willing to make that bet. Like the Mexico intervention was good because Mexico stabilized, and that was just good. Like we just did make money back. I don't know if I would trust Argentina because it's defaulted so many times on its loans. There's a reason that people don't believe in Argentina, and so it might not become a beacon of South America because of how it's run.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned China because that to me is maybe the stronger foreign policy argument. That is to say, okay, we have an ongoing trade war with China, whether you like that or not. That's having consequences in terms of our ability to sell to China, as you mentioned. Argentina is a country, despite its economic woes, that has a lot of resources to offer. They do have lithium. They do have these rare earths that China is very interested in. And they have a lot of agricultural products, like you say. So if they are in desperate financial condition and they need some international allies to help them out, if we go in there and help them before China does, maybe we block China or we at some level stop Chinese influence in South America, is that a win? And again, I'm making an argument that I kind of half agree with. The problem for me with that argument is then you tell me, and I don't know the answer to this question because I haven't read a bunch about it. Actually, when you tell me that China gave them a loan, number one, that means China is involved. Mm-hmm. And number two, I'd like some assurances that you aren't going to deal with China to sell them a bunch of products that undermine our trade restrictions on China. I'd like, in exchange for us helping Argentina, box China out. But they're not doing that, if I understand correctly.
Well, this is what, I don't know if you heard about the Scott Bessent leaked text messages.
No,
but
that's news to me.
Yeah, so Scott Bessent is one of the guys who's coordinating these bailouts and whatnot. He had a bunch of text messages get leaked where basically he was talking about the bailout. They had just given Argentina $20 billion. And in response, Argentina signed a very low tariff cost trade export with selling China its soybeans, when at that point, China had said, we are buying 0 American beans, which cuts our soybean industry by 50% of sales, right? It's about $13 billion worth of income for American farmers, just nuked. And Bessent is literally type in this text saying like, Argentina screwed us over, right? So it didn't come with all of these tags attached to it, which to me shows like just the sheer level of like incompetency in that. Like, why are we giving them $20 billion without like any promise? How is this America first? Like,
well, I'll tell you how.
This is closer to a liberal policy than this is towards America.
I'm going to tell you
policy.
How it's America first, because we're going to get very rich off of this.
Yeah, we'll see.
Do you buy the argument? So you mentioned this is a currency swap. We're trading dollars for pesos.
Yep.
And their currency,
And
from what I
interest.
understand, and interest. So their currency, from what I understand, very volatile, or has been because of all these economic problems. Scott Bessent. Sorry, what was that?
It's basically garbage, useless currency. It's almost invaluable.
So
to have.
if nobody wants it and Argentina's economy is going to come back roaring by virtue of these austerity measures that Milei is installing, is it possible that the peso has a resurgence and our $20 billion in pesos becomes a nice payday for the United States and we actually get more money out of the deal than we put in? That's what Scott Bessent is saying, maybe.
Yeah, that would be contingent again on Argentina actually stabilizing. And my understanding is that the currency swap doesn't mean that if the pesos that we have suddenly become worth more, we just get to keep all the difference. My understanding is that we swap it back and they just pay us interest essentially on the loan.
And I don't know. I kind of put words in Scott Bessent's mouth. That's just how I read it. So I do know that if I was planning to get rich on pesos, I hope I've hedged that bet in a few different ways. But that's just me. I don't know. But unless you have more to dive into on the Argentina stuff, because I think like in principle, we're probably in agreement on a lot of this stuff, broadly speaking. I also know that this has big consequences for the American farmer. And that was the other piece that you wanted to talk about. You want to move into the state of the American farmer?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's tied to all of this, right? Like one of the issues with people claiming that this is America first is you essentially have to completely shift the goalpost on what America first even means, right? Because America first is fundamentally a decently isolationist foreign policy, right? It says, fuck our allies. We're going to tariff them, which is pretty unprecedented, the way that we've been tariffing our allies.
You're just
You might
a
agree with
Canadian.
it.
You're Canadian, all right? I'm calling you out for that.
You might agree with it,
All right,
but
all right.
that is what America first is. It's oftentimes what I would call a very short-sighted economic policy that puts acute American benefits up first and kind of disregards the rest. The only way this could even maybe benefit America is the hope that Argentina stabilizes when it hasn't in 70 years. And that because it's stabilized, it stays loyal to us rather than China, who's also helping stabilize it.
Let me ask you about that point, and I'm asking genuinely because again, if I pretend to be an Argentina expert, that's how I'm going to look like an idiot really fast. But I do know, based on my 30 minutes of reading today, Argentina, a lot of government spending, very volatile economy. Malay's trying to scale that back with austerity measures. when you talk about Argentina recovering, you reference a prior track record of failing to pay back loans and economic struggles. Is it possible that really getting this under control in the way that Milei is trying to do does lead to a recovery? I guess what I'm saying is you sound very dismissive of the idea that recovery is possible. If it's based on the prior track record, hasn't that behavior now changed, or isn't it changing?
Well, that would assume that Argentina's only employed one strategy and Milei is suddenly this brand new strategy. But that's not true, right? That it wasn't even democracy through all of this, right? It's been an autocracy. It's been a military dictatorship, right? So they've applied multiple different policies. Milei's is just the newest version of it, right? And he's done some good. He there was hyperinflation under another president a couple of years ago that had like a 3,000% hyperinflation.
So he got it down to regular inflation. That's progress.
No, he's in triple digits. Yeah, he's like 350%.
Well, that's down a digit, isn't it? I thought was it 1,000%?
Well, the issue is he did it kind of artificially. He did it by just basically devaluing his currency by 50%. So like when he basically cut out how much pesos was in it was going between hands. He just said these rupees are no longer worth anything. You can't actually exchange them.
Let me ask you this. Are there, even though obviously it sounds like it's still out of control, it's a bad situation if they need a bailout, are there signs of improvement? Is there any reason to believe the trajectory is improvement? Or is it all still terrible? I don't know.
I don't know why we would assume that Milei, who has he devalued the currency, so he dropped inflation by a bunch. And then as soon as he started taking over again, inflation started to rise again. Unemployment is out of control. One of the issues is that we need to understand how like economics works, right? And the way economics works, GDP growth is really driven by foreign investment. That's like one of the most important thing. And for you to get foreigners to invest in your country, they need to trust that your economy is stable enough that they won't lose everything, right? So this is why, for example, like tyrannical dictatorships are often really bad for economies, is because if private businesses think that you can just kill all of their workers and take their land, they don't want to invest in manufacturing in your facility, right? So this is why dictatorships tend to be very protective of private corporations. And so if you've got an economy that for the last 70 years has been hyperinflated and hyperinflated and hyperinflated and defaulted on loans and defaulted on loans, foreign investors look at that and they go, why would I ever invest in this country? Right? It's extremely volatile and distrustworthy. They might short-term invest to get this 20 billion of USD, but it's a country with low trust. Milei has not driven trust up at all. He's done nothing for that. And concerningly, Trump is hinging his benefit for Argentina on Milei staying in power. Right? So he said, I won't help Argentina unless Milei stays in power.
Yeah, I know Scott Besson is saying, well, no, it's contingent on policy pursuits. But yeah, you're right. What was Trump? I highlighted Trump's statement somewhere in here. It was something to that effect. Like, I can't find the exact quote. It was something like you're saying. It was if they don't elect Milei or his party in the midterms, I'm out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We're doing this for Milei because I like Milei.
Yeah, I can't find the exact quote. Anyway, sorry to sidetrack, but okay. Like we could debate on what the wisest policy for Argentina is and how they fix their country. But I think fundamentally we're looking at this from an American perspective. And the question that I think you're asking is the one that I share, and I think a lot of Trump supporters share, which is, how does this benefit my country first? That's what's really important. And the best I can argue from my barely informed perspective is, well, maybe we are shoring up alliances that matter and stopping our enemies in ways that matter. But it certainly comes at a cost, too, to the American agricultural producer. You definitely
can't say that if you were celebrating U.S. aid getting struck and you didn't want to fund Ukraine. You can't say that at the same time.
I can say that. Why can I not say that?
It would be incoherent. It would at least be inconsistent. It's kind of incoherent. I don't even know how you make these two things coherent.
Well, USA, what's the contradiction?
So if the reason that buying into Argentina is good because it might lead to long-term foreign allyship that is beneficial to America, that's what USAID and helping fund Ukraine is for.
Yeah, well, let's clarify. I'm not saying that we must bail out Argentina. In fact, based on what I've seen and read, I'm fairly critical of this for the same reasons I would be critical of the efforts of USAID and the ongoing support of Ukraine. I want to focus on my country first, and I'm not convinced that any of these things do that. So I see what you're saying. If I was saying, yes, must bail out Argentina, is that the contradiction that you're getting at?
If you believe that bailing out Argentina is America first, but that not supporting Ukraine, like, square that. How is bailing out Argentina America first?
Yeah, you're asking.
But you're saying I don't.
No, I don't. I don't. I'm
that.
trying to give you the challenge to your perspective to respond to. But yeah, I would.
Fair.
Yeah, I would be critical of all of those things for the same reason. But we also have the consequence to the American agricultural producer. As you mentioned, you're selling a bunch of Argentinian soybeans to China now. And we, if I understand correctly, have a lot of American soybean producers or producers of other crops. Or there was something with cattle ranching too. Do you know what's going on with that? Like what are the consequences for the American farmer through our foreign relations with Argentina or other countries?
Well, he made a deal to buy a bunch of Argentina beef.
It was part of this, or it was? I guess it's related.
It's completely separate. We just keep on doing weird, nice things for Argentina that just wrecks America. It's just a separate deal that we're going to buy a lot of Argentina beef to help prop up the beef industry. The issue is that probably in part why Trump's doing this is because of tariffs and the cost of inflation. Beef this year is going to be insanely expensive, which American cattle ranchers have been like licking their chops at, because it's the first time that cattle ranchers were about to make bank because of things like tariffs and stuff. It's made it more costly for buying beef. So to undercut the cost of beef, Trump is now importing a bunch of Argentina beef. And all of a sudden, all of the American farmers are now competing against Argentina beef, despite the fact that everything's getting tariffed. And in fact, a lot of the things that beef buyers have to utilize, like the grains to feed their cattle, which are massively tariffed because most of the potassium chloride that we get for fertilizer comes from foreign countries. So American farmers have been paying for the tariffs. They're losing their workers because of the illegal deportations, which we can say is a good thing. However, they are losing their workers. So now they have to pay minimum wages at minimum if they can even find people to work at their farms. On top of that, they're paying tariff costs for improving their tractors, improving all of their machinery, all of the potassium chloride, all of the grain that they need to grow is getting tariffed. And now on top of that, they're going to have to compete with Argentina beef, which is just going to be cheaper.
Yeah, well, I don't know how cheap, but it was my birthday last month, and we bought some steak at Costco. That was not cheap, so I'm not eating steak very often. But hey, it was a nice celebration. But yeah, you have two questions there, which is, okay, are we actually helping the American producer? Is that what we're doing here? And I guess maybe we're helping the American consumer. Theoretically, the importing of Argentinian beef is going to lower the price. We're bringing new product to the market, which should bring the price down. Maybe that's beneficial for the consumer in a grocery market that has been heavily inflated in recent years, but
it's a Band-Aid for the inflation that is being, particularly this year, driven by tariffs, right? So it's like it Band-Aids the consumer issues, but the American beef farmers are still paying tariff costs. That's why the beef is more expensive. They were just hoping not to compete, at least with foreign beef, and now they are. So they've paid all the costs of tariffs, all the costs of losing labor, and now they're also competing with foreign beef.
Yeah, it's a rough spot. And as far as all these, I assume there's like a massive stock of soybeans and agricultural products out there that are also through tariffs not being sold to, say, China or whatever foreign buyer we may be at odds with right now. Do we know what's happening with that? Like, if you're a soybean producer, what happens to that product that is maybe overstocked or
it rots?
It just goes to waste.
Yeah. So luckily, Xi Jinping and Trump met like 3 days ago in South Korea. They worked out a new deal where they're going to start buying soybeans again. So they are going to buy American soybeans in exchange for a 10% reduction in tariffs, which basically means all the soybeans that have gone to waste now, we're not recouping those costs, but at least the future soybeans sales won't be destroyed. But it's quite late. Like harvest season was September, so a lot of the crop has already been lost. But at least not all of it will rot away.
Yeah. Well, we got it's top of the hour. So is there anything else that you want to discuss as we wrap it up here? Did I miss anything that you think is important in these stories?
I think the important thing is like the consistency of economic policy and asking yourself like whether or not Trump cares about working class Americans. These two policy choices suggest to me no, right? These are not prioritizing working class Americans. This is actually screwing over American farmers triply now. Like they're getting screwed on every level, which just is going to decimate the cattle industry.
It's hard for me to
also allowed the private beef. They allowed private beef to go public. Brazil's private beef company just went public on stock exchange in America, which was blocked until just recently. So now we're also competing with one of the largest beef manufacturers from Brazil, which is also allowed, which the cattle farmers were already freaking out about. And now Argentina beef is getting imported. So like Trump he doesn't care about cattle farmers. That's for sure.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and deny there are short-term consequences to the policy decisions. However, I think the aim, whether it's realized, we'll have to see. But the aim is clearly long-term independence in theory, which we've discussed is this pursuing independence, but a stronger position in the world market too. So
I don't know how we get a stronger position in the world market.
Could you argue, if I asked you to steel man the Trump tariff perspective or the Trump international relations perspective, could you make the most optimistic case possible? Or do you think it's all doom and gloom?
I mean, I understand what it is, right? It's an isolationist policy, and higher levels of self-sufficiency means that like you don't have to rely on others. In wartime comes, if you need precious metals, you're guaranteed it on yourself. You don't have to rely on China or other countries to get you pharmaceuticals or precious metals, and therefore you are like more able to survive in like high emergency situations. The problem is that this isn't really bearing fruit, and most often like the only country that has done self-isolationist high tariff policies like this and succeeded has been Poland. But Poland did that basically going like, look, our economy is decimated. We're starting from scratch. And it took them like 60 years to rebuild. America's doing this as we're the number one economy. We're 12 trillion beyond China. And most foreign servicers will tell you the only thing keeping us cybersecurity ahead of China is that we can spend more. If we couldn't spend more, they would be beating us in AI cybersecurity, which is really spooky. And so it's like, why are we doing economic reset when we're the leading economy in the world? Like, we don't need a reset. Poland did it when they were devastated. That makes sense.
Yeah,
why are we doing this?
We can be the leading economy in the world, but I still think we want to assume a position of dominance and to exert our strength and protect our workers, our economy, all those things. But I take your criticism that maybe we're not doing that in many different ways, this Argentinian deal included. But in closing, I want to ask you one question, and this is going to sound gotcha-y, but it's not. I'm asking genuinely, and I'm not asking you to name names, but when you say that it's incoherent to support this Argentina bailout and not support USAID or Ukraine or other things, I agree with you on that point. I think that it would be logically inconsistent. However, I have not seen a lot of cheerleading of the Argentina bailout, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I just haven't. It's not something I've read a lot about because I just don't see a lot of people talking about it. So my question for you is, have you seen the cheerleading? Again, not naming names, not calling people out, but you're saying the cheerleading is a real thing and that's not an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm. Glenn Beck did an entire episode on it.
All right. Okay. There you go. I wasn't looking to put anyone on blast, but
no, I actually, just so you know, I always research by watching Republicans and then a Democrat cover it. So Glenn Beck was the guy I went to for covering this story from the Republican side.
And his cheerleading was the arguments that we went over, or was it something else?
Yeah, just like long term, Trump's 9D chessing. He's actually a brilliant foreign policy. He's like thinking 10 years down the line. And it's like, okay, well, that's all of liberal foreign policy, but okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay, champ.
All right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, and thanks for catching me up on this issue because, like I said, it's not something that I've paid a lot of attention to. And of course, I always appreciate you coming here in good faith and participating in the show. Anything else you want to mention before you're out of here?
I'll be on Jubilee November 9th. So if you guys want to watch me fight with Piers Morgan.
That's the show where they sit at the table, and is it that show? You said, and a bunch of people come up and argue with you?
Yeah.
What are you? Oh, wait. So Pierce is the guy in the chair. You're going to challenge him. What's the topic?
Yes.
Do we know?
I don't know if it's publicly released, so I won't say it yet. But
but you will be there.
Picked 6. I will be there.
You will be there. Okay. Well, look forward to that. What's the date again?
November 9th, and then the episode will be out probably like a month after.
So you're recording a week from today. That's very cool.
Yeah, and then I'll be in Lila Rose November 20th. That's probably the next big one. Is Lila Rose
wow!
live.
Is this going to be like an abortion debate or something?
Yes, it is.
Oh man! All right, I'm tuning in. I don't know. I mean, I don't know your opinion on abortion at all. I don't know. I've never seen you argue on abortion. That I want to see that one. I'll be tuning in. Not that I don't want to see Jubilee, but holy crap, that's a big poll. You know, I mean, I'm sure you're taking that seriously, obviously, but like Lila Rose is, you know, up there, one of the foremost pro-life voices. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well,
So
congrats.
November 20th.
I'll definitely be checking those out. That's my guest, Kyla Turner. You can follow her on X at Not So Erudite. You can follow her YouTube channel. Also, Not So Erudite. They're both linked atop the description for you. And next time you come back, you can tell me how those experiences were, because that sounds incredible.
Yes, thank you always for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. All the best, and thanks for stopping by.
Bye.
There she goes, Kyla Turner. Find her links in the description. I'm going to take another break, and I'll be right back. We'll go get Joshy Boy.
Stand back and stand by. Stand back and stand by.
All right. Did you listen to that, Joshy Boy?
I'm not going to pretend I either understand or even care, right? I was listening.
Okay.
No, I was listening. My main question, I had a couple of questions actually, right? So I kind of was listening. Is she talking about commercial farmers, or is she talking about all farmers?
I get the sense it's general. I don't think it's whether it's like an industrial farming operation or just Farmer Joe down the street.
I would like that distinction to have been made, right?
Okay. Why is that distinction important in your mind?
Well, as I've stated before, I'm going to go visit family farms and whatnot, and you typically tell a different story. Family farms, local farms, they tend to sell local rather than do trades and stuff like that. That's why I ask. So
They're less likely to sell to an international buyer, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they can't really afford to. But because that's when she says farmers, okay, what kind of farmers? There are different types. So you have your commercial farmers, which are the big giant fields and everything. They can sell international and everything. But then you got Farmer Joe, who sells to his community. So who's being impacted? Who?
I guess I'll have to save that question until next time. But yeah, I would assume that she's referring to large producers that are probably more involved in foreign trade than
more commercial farmers. Then
I would assume, but I don't want to put words in her mouth. Anyway, we gotta get into our chatters, and then I want to talk to you about the Trump's call to end the filibuster as well. But let's catch up with our chatters here. Purpose of the ages. I looked it up. Turns out idiots do believe the Celtic Ghost Festival is Christian. Why Pope Gregory III? Deny the Pope's power and you'll go far. Ooh. Do you have strong papal opinions, Joshy Boy? I assume you probably do.
Yeah, fuck them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I feel like as the baptized Catholic here, I feel like I have to take a stand. But
you're a Catholic?
Well, I was baptized. You know this. That's my mom's side of the family is
Catholic. We'll get into the religion revival thing, and I'll share my thoughts.
Catholics like to claim me and kick me out as they see fit. More often, I'm kicked out than claimed, but sometimes I'm claimed for that reason.
All right.
Which part? Costumes, candy, ghosts, or pumpkins? What about that celebrates Jesus? Exactly. Well, okay. Now, he has several here. I'm going to read through these because I know Purpose of the Ages is our chatter disputing or questioning whether Christians should participate in Halloween that we were talking about on Sunday. So let me come back to that. There are a few here. I'll read them through. My children are terrified of Halloween. I could not be more proud. Well, they're supposed to be afraid on Halloween.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So they're kind of on theme.
Train your children to fear the demonic, and they'll know how to deal with the gays, trans, and the left as adults. Do not understand, or do not let the world shape your children. Also says, I propose a new tap the sign question. I don't even have, I got to grab the, I have to
Don't
make the
make me
button
tap the sign.
more readily available. All right, a new tap the sign question. Are these Christian holidays actually Christ-natured? I love the show, brother, and I love the audience, but we have to seriously consider what we are doing to our children when we engage in lies as quote-unquote truth. I'm interested in understanding why JD is wearing a woman's wig. Maybe the left was right about JD being weird. I mean, I've done it on this show.
I don't want to call him out,
including kind of like last week. But sorry, what were you saying?
He kind of bless him for supporting the show, but you do read as a bit of a killjoy, man.
You mean a very nice man who's a wonderful appreciator of the show.
It's okay to have some lighthearted fun. I mean, yeah, teach your kids the truth. I mean, my parents let me and my siblings indulge in Santa Claus, even though we kind of knew he wasn't real. There's nothing wrong with participating in the mythos or whatnot. It's just there's different ways of doing it. You can have churches who do the Hallelujah party or the trunk or treat, right? Like we discussed. I don't know if you discussed it with me or somebody else, but there are ways you can kind of turn that into the Christian favor, right? That's how
we got into that a little bit on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's time to start a new political party regarding JD Vance. We'll call it the Straights. Well, first of all, thank you for your support for the show. And I know, regardless of whether we have some disagreement here, Purpose of the Ages or not, very much appreciate your support for the show.
You're very special.
And I know you're operating in good faith, so don't ever think that any questioning of what you're saying is otherwise. But and I think he's taking issue with some of the chatters. And chatters had said that the Halloween holiday is Christian in origin, or we were trying to break that down a little bit. Now, I don't know.
No,
I can say for myself.
It's never been Christian in origin, right? Because this is more of a Celtic pagan belief.
So as I talked about
as well.
Yeah, as I talked about last Sunday, I am not going into Halloween thinking that this is a Christian celebration. You could say, well, you shouldn't do it if it's not. Okay, I'm trying to have a little bit of fun with my boys, trying to have a scary, fun time. Like I said, jump scares with my boys are some of the most fun things we do. I consider it to be whatever vices it may have, as long as you maintain a proper orientation toward God and toward the truth. A little bit of a sideshow, a little bit of side fun, I don't find a lot of harm in. But as with any vice, as I've said, if your choice is too much or zero, I don't blame anybody who chooses zero. I'm just going to try to be responsible and not choose too much. But I appreciate it, Purpose of the Ages. I know he's responding to a lot of chatters and not just me or us from last weekend, because that's right. You were on last Sunday. We got into this too. I forgot. But
just word of advice, and I had to kind of follow this too. Sometimes it's not always best to pay attention to chatters because sometimes they can just be trolling you.
Are you telling me how to run my show?
No. I'm talking to our Purpose of the Ages.
Oh. Well, still, it kind of sounded like
you're fired.
All right. You're telling him not to respond to the chatters. I got it. P. Shivers dared. This is the worst Halloween special you've ever made. Why is blonde in blackface? Just jokes. Nice seeing you, Joshy. That's a good one. I like that.
That is I like that one.
Okay. Injured Guardian. Praising lemongrass after citing Michael Robinson's dress. Is this intentional? Is the show scripted? I kid, of course. Keep up the good work. I actually don't know the reference, and thank you. By the way, Injured Guardian, I know I missed a super chat from you last weekend. I apologize for that. I didn't see it till after the show. And as always, if you'd like a refund for that, you can email me. But what's the lemongrass Michael Robinson Michelle Obama bit?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know that reference. Joke's over my head, I guess. Don't Day 2K, props to Joshy Boy for doing a reverse Bob Dylan, converts from Christian to Jew and then back to Christian. Okay, that's pretty good too.
I like that.
I didn't know Bob Dylan did. Bob went Jew to Christian to Jew. Bob Dylan did?
Really?
That's news to me. I didn't know. Oh no, guess who's here?
Who?
It's Newbie of Death Review making me press it.
You are gay. LMAO.
Thank you for supporting the show. I always have it on standby. Coronath says, "Stay safe during Stamp-ageddon. I'm at work, and we've been preparing all week for food riots. We've locked up everything except the food, the work boots, and Father's Day cards." First of all, thank you.
I am not going to be niggardly.
Yeah. You can bet that the Father's Day cards are not going to be stolen. That's for sure.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
God, man. More on that in a moment, or at least government shutdown stuff. Long Dong John, I was waiting to see a total N-pocalypse since November 1st. Frankly, I've been quite disappointed. Well, I don't know if it's going to be snap related. You might see an N-pocalypse. Actually, is that why? You may have connected the dots. I should, like, what's prompting the odds on Trump saying it? Is it because of the threat of a real N-pocalypse during the the snap?
You remember all those black people who were threatening to go on a riot if their food stamps ever got taken away? This is years ago.
I mean, that sounds, yeah, I could picture that. I don't know exactly what it is, but
yeah, this was probably during Trump's first term when that all came to light. He says he's going to take our food stamps, we're going to riot and everything. They had guy holding an AK or something like that. So maybe that's where it's prompting from.
I am going to stop YouTube there and come back to you guys. And well, I don't know. Actually, let me. I'll get through these. There's just a few on YouTube, and I think some that want to push back on what was said previously.
Oh, real quickly.
Yeah.
The real captain in the chat says black don't crack, black snaps, and it's for the snaps thing. I like that.
Black snaps about snap, I guess. Esoteric Unbound. This is simple. Inform Democrats that you may end the filibuster, and the first bill to be passed after doing that will be a 90% tax on capital gains realized from stocks purchased or sold while serving in Congress. Yeah, I have a lot to say about the filibuster, the proposal, Trump's call to end the filibuster. We'll get into that momentarily. I think this is a total trap, and it's not going to happen because there isn't support in the Senate, but I hope that there's no more discussion of this.
Gotcha.
There will be discussion from Marjorie Taylor Greene and some other people talking about it, but it's a bad idea, is the short version. I'll talk about it in a moment. Okay. Thoughts and blogs. Her analysis of the Argentinian economy is made up. The economy has been bad because of decades of socialism. Malay's plan is working well, but it will also take decades to undo the damage. Also says, I'm in the cattle industry. Everything this girl has said is false. Ask any cattle producer. They are for Trump and very happy with his plans. Yeah, well, and obviously they're not monolithic, so, but even if they have criticisms of Trump's economic pursuits, which some might, for reasons we discussed, I would be comfortable, to Thoughts and Blogs point, if you were to poll cattle ranchers. Just let's poll all of them and see who they would prefer to vote for. I don't think they're flipping to Democrats anytime soon, even if they have problems with certain policy pursuits recently. Just my guess, but I could be wrong. Son of the Wolf, bailing out Argentina is way better than Ukraine because Zelensky is a corrupt scumbag and Javier is actually trustworthy. There's your distinction. Well, it does matter. I mean, obviously, if you're bailing out a foreign country that has a reputation for corruption as Ukraine does. I'm not even saying I'm not even defending Argentina because I don't know a lot about it. I do know that Ukraine has had a record of corruption for a long time. So that is a fair distinction. However, even if all of the money is used for the exact purpose that it's supposed to be, that is shoring up the Argentinian economy and making it an awesome country that all other South American countries can look up to, just philosophically, I still have some questions about whether that's a wise use of our resources, and if that's an America First policy, and if that's really helping Americans first. I think those are fair questions to ask. It's not impossible. It could have the result that this forms an important alliance that helps our country and stops the flow of drugs and people and nonsense from South America and maybe boxes out China a little bit and helps us be stronger. I hope that's what happens. I just think that there are valid questions about it too, but that is a distinction that matters. Not all countries are the same. That's definitely true. Ryan Allen, her claims about Argentinian beef are false. 10 minutes ago, we had Mexican beef. Tariffs stopped that. Now we have Argentinian beef, and the Mexican beef volume, or the volume of the Argentinian beef will cost more per pound than U.S. beef. It won't hurt our ranchers. It will help consumers. That's the goal. And by the way, thank you for your support for the show.
That's something that never made sense.
I am not going to be niggardly.
She's making it seem like if we cut off Argentina and Mexican beef, wouldn't that actually help our farmers? Because then they can sell their own products here.
But that's what she's saying is we're bringing in a bunch of Argentinian beef that is going to harm the American beef producer. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, these are all important points, and frankly, I probably should have read up more about it. Hey, man, she wanted to come on and talk about Argentina stuff.
Well, that's because
I had an hour to read about it. So, I'm not going to pretend to be an Argentina expert, but I'm interested in what she has to say, and you can decide if you agree or not.
That's fine, but we're worried about our own country right now. Why would I be worried about Argentina?
I think we share that. At least I hope she does. Although her Canadian sympathies.
She's from Canada, and she always talks about American politics.
Yeah,
that's how boring Canada is.
That's how snake-like they are. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Every time Kyla comes on, we kind of end up in these discussions where people shake their fists and they get kind of pitchforky in, and I get that. That's fine. And I can't pretend to represent your opinion perfectly when I just really appreciate that she's willing to talk in good faith.
But the engagement is also fun. Right?
I agree.
I like the engagement.
Yeah. So I really appreciate that she's willing to
bring your friend Stefan back on.
Who are you talking about?
There was a guy named Stefan that you brought on a long time ago.
Are you talking about Steven?
Steven.
Yeah, that was a hot episode too.
Yeah.
God, those callers were not happy with Steven. But Steven's a good guy too, man. He's a good faith guy. And so I appreciate people that are willing to do that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but...
Let me hop over to Rumble. Canadian Egg, don't feed the wild animals. They may become dependent on the handouts.
Jeez.
Thank you. Purpose of the Ages. Dear chat, mad about my JD Vance comment. JD dressed in drag while as a Yale student. Oh, she's talking about a different thing. Okay. We have a lot of the old, I'm not gay, you're gay for noticing defense. Dressing like a woman is for fags. Well, like I said, I've done it, but I've also been accused of being a fag many times, so wouldn't be the first time.
I've had a lot of people actually believe that I was either gay or bisexual.
Oh, really? I haven't heard. I thought you were leaning into the gayness.
Well, in real life, I say real life, yeah, there are people throughout my life who have assumed that either I am gay or at least bisexual.
Great story. Compelling and rich.
Thank you. Your friendly neighborhood Fed.
Fed.
Happy month 2 of furlough to my fellow Feds. We're going to apply for food stamps, but they said even though I'm not getting paid, I have a job that pays too much. So I guess I'm only buying 40s now. Well, congratulations. I love hearing from our resident Fed on vacation. All right. Ninja Kitty bonks, and I'll probably stop here on Rumble for the moment. Best thing about Trump's new White House ballroom, the American taxpayer gets to pay $850 million to tear it down and remove all the signs of Trump as soon as a leftist crat enters the Oval. If they actually tore it down, which I know Eric Swalwell was saying every Democrat running for president should pledge to do. I mean, what more do you need to know? How symbolic would that be? You have Trump building this ballroom. We can have discussions about whether it's necessary. It's privately funded, he says, although I don't know if we know who all the private donors are, but I believe that's correct. There's not taxpayer money going to it. So if you have someone building something, whether you like the thing or not, and Democrats come in just to sledgehammer it down, that's really what your party exists to do, isn't it? It's just to destroy. Someone builds something, you say, no, not like that, and you smash it. Whether it's Trump, whether it's a guy building a small business in a small town, you smash it, and you never actually build anything yourself. It would be very unfortunate for the country, but a perfect metaphor for the behavior of these people. Anyway, over on Odyssey, we're good. We're good on Odyssey. Thank you guys over there. All right, I'm going to stop it there.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
We'll come to your chats at the come back to your chats at the end of the stream. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Want to get back into the shutdown and what Trump is saying, what he did say later in the week about the filibuster. So Trump obviously is also frustrated with the shutdown. He really has not attempted to negotiate. His perspective is there's nothing to negotiate. Democrats have a clean temporary spending bill, a clean CR that was passed in the House. They can go to the Senate and vote on it tomorrow and open the government. There's nothing to negotiate. You want to negotiate specifics and budget plans? We'll do that after you pass the clean CR and we're back in business. But now Trump is calling for Republicans to end the filibuster as a practice, to break the 60-vote rule so Republicans could just end the government shutdown themselves. This was a Truth Social post on Thursday night Trump said that he would initiate the nuclear option. We're just going to get rid of the filibuster. Now, for those who don't know, you've probably heard of this 60-vote rule, but the filibuster refers to the Senate rule that 60 votes are necessary to close debate or cloture. And so if you don't have 60 votes in the Senate, debate can continue on forever, theoretically. The one thing I don't like about the modern filibuster, Joshy, or I don't even know if it's modern, just the way we implement it, you should make those bitches actually do the speeches, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington style. You know, like if you want to filibuster, you have to sit there and talk. You can't just threaten, you know? Like they have to do
Cory
it.
Booker did.
Yeah, they all have to be Cory. They have to do it. But that's why, all of this is why the shutdown is ongoing. Is because there are only 53 Republicans in the Senate. There are a handful of Democrats who are willing to support that short-term spending bill, but there aren't 60 votes for cloture to move on. And so if you wanted to change this rule, you could do it by a simple majority vote in the Senate. You could change Senate rules to allow cloture at 51 votes, simple majority. But of course, that means that bills are going to move through the Senate much more easily, much more quickly. It could be a convenience for you right now, but it also means that your opposition will move what they want to move much more easily when they're back in power. And because both parties have used this, I mean, the filibuster, it can be an asset for you or it can be an obstacle, but it exists as an institution for a reason. Because the rule exists and has helped and hurt both parties, you get complicated arguments from people saying they love it at one point and hate it another time. See House Majority Minority Leader, whatever his title is. Dollar Store Obama, the guy who leads the Democrats in the House, Hakeem Jeffries.
He does look like a Dollar Store Obama.
He's not in the Senate, obviously. He's in the House. But he has been critical of the filibuster. And he has previously called it a Jim Crow relic, just like Barack Obama has. Even though they say it's a Jim Crow relic because it was used to filibuster civil rights legislation in an attempt to stop that. Did you know, though, it's really been a part of the Senate since the founding. There was actually a filibuster in the very first session of the Senate. So it's a founding era relic, really, even though it's evolved over time. But Jim Crow relic is like one time people used it to oppose a thing I like. Yeah, well, that's true of its application throughout the course of history. Sometimes you like its application, sometimes you don't, but it exists for a reason. But Hakeem Jeffries, to my point on very inconsistent stances and commentary about the filibuster over time, Hakeem Jeffries was asked on CNN this week, well, you've previously called the filibuster a Jim Crow relic, and you've called for it to be eliminated. You've agreed with Obama, who said the same. Now Trump is saying he agrees with you. He wants the filibuster eliminated. Do you now agree with Trump? Should we eliminate the filibuster? And see if you can make sense of Hakeem Jeffries' answer here. I find it very difficult to follow.
If all this takes eliminating the filibuster, another Jim Crow relic, in order to secure the God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do.
You yourself have used similar language to describe the filibuster. You wrote on X in 2021, quote, "The filibuster is a Jim Crow era relic that has been used to stop progress for decades. Enough." By your own standards, shouldn't Republican senators heed Trump's call to eliminate the filibuster?
Well, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene made this point a few weeks ago that Republicans are actually making a choice to keep the government shut down when everybody in Washington understands they have the power to reopen it. But they're asking Democrats to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people. In terms of what Republicans in the Senate may decide relative to the filibuster rule, it is a Jim Crow relic, but ultimately it's their decision. But keep in mind that the filibuster has already been eradicated or watered down in other instances. That's the reason why Republicans could pass their one big ugly bill with only Republican votes. And they used the erosion of the filibuster in the case of that budget reconciliation bill to visit upon the American people $1 trillion or so in cuts to Medicaid, to rip food away from the mouths of hungry children, and at the same time to enact the largest tax break for their billionaire donors in American history, and they made that permanent.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
Now, notice how he just didn't answer the question, though.
Do you understand his opinion on the filibuster? Because I don't.
No, yeah, it's simply avoiding the question, right? Avoiding to answer the question. He said, "Do you agree with Trump that the Republicans should end the filibuster?" Then he goes on his whole diatribe about like, well, this, and this, and this. It's a pivot, basically.
I had to listen to it several times. And as far as I can follow, the filibuster is bad because it is Jim Crow and Obama was right. But it's also good because it stops terrible Trump bills from passing, or it's at least an obstacle to Trump's agenda.
It's just a pivot because to agree with Trump is basically handing him a win. And they can't have that.
But he is agreeing with Trump without saying it. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
Or is he, though? Because he's also saying, well, they are Jim Crow tactics, but they also stop Trump. So I guess the Jim Crow tactics are good. I honestly don't understand his answer. I have no idea.
What's a non-answer?
But yeah, it tells, again, these things are tools, not principles. Yeah. It's good when I use it to damage my enemy. It's bad when my enemy uses it against me. Now, I mentioned as a practical matter, this is not happening. The filibuster is here to stay. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, he's on the record opposing any change to the filibuster. Mm-hmm. Many Republican senators are as well. You also have Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who of course isn't in the Senate, but has a leadership position in D.C., generally supporting and defending the filibuster as well. So it's not going to happen. Trump's call is not going to happen, period. But is it a good idea? Should we entertain the concept of undoing the filibuster, of removing it and operating by simple majority in the Senate? Now, I favor the filibuster in general for a very simple reason. I want federal legislation to be very difficult. I want Washington, D.C. to move very slowly, ideally not at all. I don't want massive swings in D.C. And I don't want one party making massive changes and then another party coming in a few years and undoing all that and doing something else completely crazy. And I don't want all that being done by small majorities. So I'm in favor of the filibuster for that reason in general. I want D.C. very limited. The filibuster strongly limits D.C. But in this particular case, like if you were ever going to undo it, I also think it's a bad call to undo it in this particular case. Because if you were to do it now, it grants the Democrat talking point they've been saying this entire time, this last month. Oh, well, it's the Republican shutdown. They could undo it at any point in time. Of course, ignoring the reality that Senate rules prevent them from undoing this. The only way they could stop, they could end the government shutdown is to undo those long-term Senate rules. So that's been a bunk talking point this whole time. But if you do that, you kind of grant their talking point. And I think that this whole thing is maybe, I'm not saying it's the exclusive motivation, but I think there's some of this motivation that Democrats are using this as bait to try to get Trump to do something like that. Democrats would love to undo the filibuster. And if Trump undoes it because he thinks it's going to help him get the government back operating and end the shutdown, Democrats, the next time they're in power in the Senate, certainly, but let's say they get control of the Senate, the House, and the presidency, and they control Congress by a very narrow margin and the White House, they would love to ram through their entire agenda and say, well, these are the rules according to Trump. We're just operating according to Trump rules. They would love it. So don't do it for that reason too. But I want to consider the other side. The only argument I can come up for to end the filibuster, which is the one Marjorie Taylor Greene and maybe some others are making, is you're kidding yourself if you don't think Democrats aren't going to do this the next time they control the Senate anyway. They are going to undo the filibuster. They're going to use their simple majority to do it, and the filibuster will be long gone, and they'll ram through their agenda anyway. So you need to get out in front of this and do what they're going to do before they do it. Now, I don't think it's even a crazy thing to predict that they will, because they've undone institutions X, Y, and Z, and they continue to rewrite the rules pursuant to their own convenience. So I don't think that prediction is way off. But in general, I am not a fan of breaking the rules because you think someone else is going to break the rules later. I don't think you point the gun at somebody before they actually point it at you, even if maybe they do point it later. But if someone breaks the rules, if someone points the gun, you respond, and you respond strongly. That's the way that ought to work. And even if you think I'm being too weak in that analysis, like, yeah, these people are going to point the gun at you. These people are going to undo the filibuster. You have to get out ahead of them. You have to break the rules before they break the rules. Okay, let's entertain that, though. What do you win in this situation? You undo the filibuster, you reopen the government, and you operate normally in D.C. once again, but you're going to get that worst-case scenario where now all of a sudden D.C. in the next few years or in the next decade just becomes a nonsense place where one party's in power, they do everything X, and then the other party comes into power and they switch it all to Y. And not only is D.C. an area of too much concentrated power, it's unpredictable. It's just nonsense. Like federal policy, which is already way stronger than it should be, is just switching chaotically every few years. It will be a disaster for the country.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a big win here, even if you'd like to be a little more aggressive against Democrats. But that's my position on the filibuster, Joshy. Do you have anything you'd like to say about it?
Well, I'm unprepared, as you know. Didn't really have time to look into that. So no, I don't really have thoughts and opinions. I'm just surprised the whole thing has been going on for this long.
I definitely thought it was going to be shorter. The shutdown, yeah.
So what are we approaching a month now?
It's over a month because it started on October 1st. It started at the stroke of midnight, October 1st. But
well, we'll see how this goes.
This and obviously this is theoretical. Like I said, it's not going to happen. Filibuster's not changing, but I wish Trump would have a change of heart on this because I think his calls are incorrect. Let me move over to Michelle Obama, former first alleged lady Michelle Obama. I referred to in the chat earlier as Michael Robinson, correctly so. But Michelle Obama now has a book about all her fashion during her time in the White House. It is called The Look.
Who cares?
You're supposed to care, though.
Everybody's
ABC
selling a book these days.
I know. I got to get in on it, I guess. I don't know if anyone would buy my book, but I could try. I could do a tell-all.
Mm-hmm.
All the behind-the-scenes bullshit of my stupid stream.
Yeah,
I'm
commentator.
sure.
Yeah, name it Commentator 6.
I could talk about the alligator. I could give you. There's not actually any inside information. I already gave all that information on stream. All my knowledge of what happened there. So
excuse me, just for a sec. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess we have a cat emergency or something. All right. But anyway, you're supposed to care about Michelle Obama's book, and ABC News desperately wants you to care because Michelle Obama has a big interview with Robin Roberts. And in this interview, Michelle Obama reflects on how she and Barack were not given any grace, she says. No grace when they were in the White House. In fact, they couldn't make any mistakes because they'd be so heavily scrutinized because, after all, they were the first black first family. And this country, as we know, is just so racist.
You said we were all too aware that as a first black couple, we couldn't afford any missteps.
Yeah.
And you also say, as a black woman, I was under a particularly white hot glare. Did you feel that?
For sure. You can't afford to get anything wrong because you didn't get at least until the country came to know us, we didn't get the grace that I think some other families have gotten.
They didn't get the grace, Joshy. It was nothing but white hot scrutiny on them the whole time. And thankfully, of course, the Obamas didn't make any mistakes, or else they would have suffered the wrath. They didn't make a single mistake. They never felt that heat. Of course,
they were heralded as we got the first black president. They had a guy design beautiful dresses and suits for them. Everybody was showering them with praise. They were untouchable, basically. So what's all this bullshit about? Oh, we were under white hot, whatever she just said. I mean, like,
does she think that the media gives Donald Trump grace?
They must think we're stupid or retarded, but
I don't. Compared to whom are you not receiving grace? Because you can talk about the media treatment, of which, as far as I haven't seen the totality of this interview, but it looks like it's. I mean, she's not in government anymore, so you could argue the scrutiny she deserves or not. But this does not look like it was a particularly challenging, white hot interview, as she characterized the scrutiny on her when they were in the White House. But you look at Barack Obama's approval ratings too. It's not just the media. Even if you were to grant the point, like, okay, the media, Obamas were media darlings during his White House tenure. But Americans are so racist, even though they elected him twice by fairly wide margins. But he also enjoyed fairly solid approval ratings. When Barack Obama was first inaugurated in 2009, his approval rating was right there, almost 70%. And so you had a solid supermajority of the country saying that they support this guy. And the country, the mood at the time was, we want to move beyond race, not I hate that black guy. It's like, wow, a black guy in the White House. I hope that like we can be a post-racial society now. And then Obama racialized a bunch of stuff, and his approval rating, went down, and he was under the 50% mark for long periods of time in both of his terms. But he actually left office again more popular than not, 59% approval rating. So for all the white hot scrutiny that was on them, not really. I mean, he enjoyed majorities of people approving of his job, at the start when he ran for re-election, and then when he left. So. But the commentary from Michelle Obama, you can tell me how accurate this is, because I know that you may have similar hair struggles, Joshy. She has things to say about black hair.
That bitch ain't got black hair.
You don't think so? What are you talking about? Look at those braids on the right.
Mm-hmm. All that weave in her hair.
What do you mean? Are you saying? Okay, I know that her genital equipment is debated. Are you saying you don't buy her as authentically black?
I mean, I'm saying she don't have black hair. All right.
Okay.
It's not it's not nappy enough. It's too clean. You see how my hair is?
But see, this is what she's saying, is she unnapped it. She denapped it. And she had to do that because of social expectations that were unfair. In fact, she calls herself a victim of socially enforced de-napping.
Gotta talk about hair. Gotta talk about
hair.
Hair is a daily discussion in our community. It is a thing.
Oh my gosh. The hair journey. I mean, we all go through it, and especially as women of color, because we are trying to follow social norms that don't conform to how our hair naturally grows out of our head. From working in a corporate law firm to working in the city, there was an expectation that we would show up hair pressed and bopped and flowy and all of that. That was deemed professional, and I was a victim of that as well. And going into the White House, I knew that to push those norms, it wasn't the time. It just wasn't the time.
I don't give a damn fuck.
I'm just trying to imagine Obama in cornrows as president.
He could have done it.
He could have done. I mean, no, Miss Ma'am, nobody, Mr. Sir, I guess, right? The thing that strikes me as funny is that a lot of, I'm going to say a lot of my black women, right? A lot of black women try very hard to look like white women, not because of social pressures. It's because they feel like that's what they need to do instead of just doing their natural hair. Nobody's forced you to do that.
Well, yeah, she's saying that social expectations did. But to your point, do you think that the Obamas would have been less politically popular if she wore her hair?
No, she would have been more politically popular because
she could have done a giant 1970s afro, and people would have loved it. They loved it in the 70s, this racist country.
Yeah.
But
she could have had dreadlocks or something like that. I don't know what she's got to the right of her right there, but they were already popular. Had she worn her hair naturally instead of putting on that horsehair on her head, right? People would have loved it.
Is it actually horsehair?
I have no idea.
Is that a real thing?
Weave is not real hair. She looked like she was wearing extensions and shit. That's not her natural hair.
Oh.
But
well,
to my
sorry,
point,
go ahead.
Yeah. To my point, if she wore her natural hair, people would have gone nuts over that. They would have given her even more. They would have been even more popular.
I think so. Now, you tell me, Joshy, what do you think is the greater challenge in the daily preparation routine for Michelle Obama? Is it, in fact, straightening the hair, or is it tucking the giant penis? Which do you think is the tougher part of the morning routine?
Well, she can always put on a wig, so I think
tucking the penis, hiding the penis is harder. Now, yeah, watch the Ellen.
Look how big her pants are.
That jacket covers it nicely.
The big ass.
Everybody needs to watch the footage of her dancing on Ellen. And I know that in the former iteration of this show, the conclusion was that she just has particularly large lady parts. But I think those are swinging nuts. And
yeah, she got an extra toolkit down there.
Yeah. Anyway, Yeah, but yes, she was uniquely scrutinized. She was uniquely she was a victim of harsh criticism and harsh expectations. Again, see the current occupant at the White House. If you think the media treatment for you was rough or the public treatment for you was rough, try getting shot at like Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
If you think people are mean about your hair, I mean, some people love Donald Trump's hair, but his hair is also highly criticized.
Wild.
It's part of who he is, I guess.
Yeah.
But. Okay. Now, I mentioned a white pill at the top of the show, and I want to talk about this a little bit. I think this is very interesting, if true, very encouraging, if true. And I don't even say if true to cast doubt. I just, anytime you hear studies say, you gotta look at the methods a little bit.
Yeah. When you brought it up, I was like, well, go ahead. I'll share my thoughts in a little bit.
Well, this is a new research from a place called Barna. And I don't know about Barna data and their analysis generally. It was, I think, my first time encountering it. But it's a very interesting piece of research that says for the first time in decades, younger generations, that would be Gen Z and millennials, are the most regular churchgoers of all the generations. So this research, the research was actually published in September. I saw it posted this week, so that's why I bring it up. And it isn't measured by raw attendance, because when I first saw this, I thought, well, okay, but older generations are just dying off. So as millennials get older and Gen Z even gets a little bit older, wouldn't it make sense that they would be most of the churchgoers because they're just becoming most of the population? But that's not what this is measuring. This is according to surveys conducted with these respondents. And it's how many church services you attend per week. So it's not about the raw number or the per capita amount of attendance. It's about how many church services the individual member of a generation attends on average per month. And yeah, you can see that in 2025, Gen Z and millennials are up at 1.9 and 1.8. So they're attending church services every other week on average. Or, you could look at it the other way. Half of millennials or generations or millennials or Gen Z are attending church every week, and the other half aren't, but it comes out to about 2 per month if you average those out. It would be 2 ways to characterize that. But you look at those same numbers for older generations, Gen X, boomers, elders, they're all well below 1.9 and 1.8. You got Gen X at 1.6, boomers down at 1.4, same with elders. So the older people are actually attending less. Now that might make sense for people who are very old. Like, how many church services are you going to if you're you're in a nursing home or something like that? What counts as a church service? So let's say you watch it remotely or something. I don't know.
A lot of them have been, since COVID, a lot of them have been doing it more remotely.
Yeah.
So there's been that going on.
But of course, you have to question the methods here. Like, that's an encouraging result, and I think that's a very interesting result, because it would be a reversal of the trend according to this analysis. That is to say, younger people going to church more frequently than older people is something we haven't seen in decades. And you can see that that is actually a change that's recent in the last 5 years, as in Gen Z and millennials have been going to church more frequently since 2020. That is not true for these older generations, Gen X, boomers, and elders. They've been flat since 2020 and on kind of a longer term decline dating back all the way to 2000. So if this is true, that's, very encouraging news. I do want to talk about the methods a little bit, because you have to decide if you buy this as accurate or not. But I didn't have time for a deep dive into the methods. But they look fairly sound. So this research firm has interviewed or surveyed 130,000 some respondents over the last 25 years. In 2025, pursuant to this study, they interviewed about 5,600 randomly selected interview or survey respondents who participate by phone or online, and they talk about, among other things, church attendance. They say these are randomized, they're demographically representative, so they shouldn't, the sample should not be skewed toward any one particular demographic or piece of the population. The surface level analysis looks like sound methodology to me. And I do want to talk about this too, because if you're a person, I want to talk about this from the not person of faith perspective. If you're a person of faith, this is good news for the obvious reason that
I will caution you on that.
Why is it bad news?
I'm not even saying that it's bad news, right? But go ahead, because I want to save my thoughts.
All right. Well, I think if you're a person of Christian faith, it is very hard to look at this as anything but good news. Maybe you can find a reason to dump on it, Joshy. I'll let you do that. Are they going to those dirty Protestant churches? I don't know. But
well,
you hate the Catholics and the Protestants, to be clear. But even if you're not a church person, you don't care about following Jesus Christ, you don't believe in God, maybe you're an atheist, maybe you just don't think these things are knowable, so you don't care about searching for it, which is kind of the mindset that I used to be in. You should still celebrate this news because more of your peers, your neighbors attending church, that has many benefits for you. The people around you in your communities, they're going to be more family oriented. They're going to strive to find and follow my favorite thing in the world, objective morality. They're searching for the rules of the world and they want to follow those rules. They believe fundamentally in something higher than themselves. They're humble by this commitment to seeking God, to following Christ. That's important. That has a lot of benefits for your community. Because even if you don't accept the faith or you have doubts about it, maybe you're considering it, I'll bet you do want the culture. Remember there was that famous Dawkins quote a year or two ago where he was lamenting the loss of Christian culture in the UK. And of course, he's a famed atheist, but he said,
"Oh yeah, that's right. The cultural Christian claim."
Exactly. I bet you want the cultural Christianity, even if you don't want to attend church every Sunday. So even if you're a person who's on the sidelines, maybe you're even hostile to Christianity.
Yeah,
I guess there's nothing I could say to convince that sort of person that this is beneficial to them. But I promise you, even if you don't care about the church at all, this is good news for you too. It's not just about the church, even though of course the church is important.
Yeah, it creates a society that they benefit from, that they like. Yeah. They may hate our religion, but we create the best societies, and they want to live in those societies.
Yeah,
because even secular humanists argue that we do create better societies simply because of what we do.
That Dawkins segment was really formative for me because I thought, man, am I this same thing where like, here I am not willing. Am I just the free rider like that? I've been on this bandwagon without paying my dues, so to speak. Like I've enjoyed all the benefits of society and culture that was built by this faith, by this general philosophy. What am I doing to maintain it, to perpetuate it, to ensure that this view builds other great things in the future? I without participating and without committing myself to it, I couldn't answer that question.
Well, that's the distinction between you and Dawkins, right? You actually ask yourself that question. He doesn't.
Well, he loves Christmas. He loves presents on Christmas. It's great, and I agree.
I'm sure Abdul will agree once he takes over.
Sorry, Richard, you're culturally Muslim now, but it was a good run for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying, did you actually have a reason for pessimism on this, or were you just joking?
Not even pessimism, more so caution, and I am being serious when I say this, right? So last Tuesday, I became catechumen for my Orthodox church. So that means I'm just basically under instruction.
Okay.
The distinction that I'm looking for is that while it seems on the surface that it's great, more and more young people are joining the church and everything, the question that people should be asking, okay, why though? What brought you here? See, I was already Protestant before I learned the error of my ways, right? All right, that's enough dunking on Protestants. But I wanted my reasoning for joining the Orthodox Church or becoming catechumen is to search for truth, right? I'm more interested in the theology of it, the doctrine, the structure, the hierarchy, etc., right? I don't know if you're familiar with Jay Dyer or anything like that, but I heard him kind of speaking on this about what trad cats, like traditional Catholics. You have some people who are joining the church because they like tradition. It has nothing to do with the theology. It's like, oh, it's traditional. I like it because it's benefit our society, et cetera, et cetera. So they're being led by their politics, not necessarily by faith. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I don't know what he had to say specifically, of course, but I think a lot of times you have the question of what leads, your politics or your faith, because these are necessarily intertwined things. They're fundamentally value structure questions. But would it be fair to say, like last week we were talking about the church with the gay pride rainbow sign, right? It's kind of the same question of what leads here, the left-wing social politics or the cross. Mm-hmm. When they're in conflict, which one wins? Is that sort of the same question, or is that something else?
It's similar, I will say that. The way that it was either by him or it was a comment that I read off that video. It says, are you Christian because you're right wing, or are you right wing because you're Christian? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. What
Yeah.
leads here?
Yeah.
Which one is a consequence of which?
So while and the polling or the methods, they're not wrong. There is an increase of young people going back to church and everything because it's starting to even show up in the orthodoxy, right?
Mhm.
But it's still, the reason why I say not even pessimism, I would call it more so a gray pill than a white pill, right? It says, okay, what brought you here?
Are
If
they
you're
there
in-
for the right reasons is the question
Yeah,
you're asking.
basically.
And I don't doubt your point that there might be better and worse reasons, I guess, but
Mhm.
ultimately I'm not really interested in policing people's reasons for being there. I know that you're probably not going to say you have to do it for this reason or get the hell out of here.
No, it's just more so a curiosity question, right? Because that's
Yeah.
ultimately, I mean, I'm not gonna shame you or anything. I was like, well, it's traditional, I like it, and this and that and the other. If that eventually leads you to truth, though, right?
Yeah.
If that's a jumping off point, I mean, I may not like the method of how you got here
Right.
or why you're here, but if that transforms like, oh, I actually believe this is true, okay, fine, right?
It's the decision to take the path that matters.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. Fundamentally, I made the decision to take the path because I got a bunch of emails from demonic people. Okay. That's why. And I've always thought, is that a good enough reason? Of course it is.
Yeah.
No matter your reason for choosing to take the path, I think it's a good one.
I mean, look at the Israelites. In order for them to get to believing in or trusting in God again, he basically had terrible things done to them by using other terrible people. So sometimes, if that's what it takes to get you over here, that's the method that sometimes it takes people hitting rock bottom in order to turn their lives over.
Yeah, that too. Like, yeah, the reason for taking the path might be terrible. Like, you screwed up your life so badly that you felt like you had no other choice.
Yeah.
And of course, you'd like to have someone making a more affirmative decision under more positive circumstances. But hey, if you're taking the path, I think that is cause for celebration, not lecture, not exclusion. And so I find nothing but encouragement in this particular piece of news. I hope it's true.
Yeah.
I hope it's methodologically sound.
Yeah. What'll be encouraging for me is that if you stick with it, right? It's not just a passing trend or a fad just because the political winds have shifted.
It's been going for 5 years strong now, though. So, yeah.
I mean, somebody could pull a grift for 5 years. That doesn't really mean anything. You can actually go to church for 5 years straight and still not be Christian.
I should clarify a little bit of what I said, because when I say there's no bad reason for being there, I'm glad you used the word grift. If you're doing it for intentionally deceptive reasons and you are not in your heart intent on taking the path, if you're actually tricking people, that is a bad reason. But that's not really even on the path, is it? You're presenting as though you are, but deep down this is really just a presentation to trick people into thinking a certain thing about me. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
That's not the path.
Yeah, some people just go just because it's what they've always done, right? And so it's like, okay, I go to church, that's what we Christians do, and they just carry on with their day. There's no real change in their lifestyles, right? I'm not saying that you have to completely turn your life around in like a moment's notice, but people will see a change in you if you actually are following that path. That's what led me to orthodoxy, right? It's not just because I like some guys who debate on the internet. I had no idea. I didn't know anything about the orthodoxy. I've only heard of them. I didn't really know anything about them because all you get is Protestant or Catholic, right?
Well, you were totally Orthodox last week when you showed up.
Yeah.
You were practically hiding mattresses in the tunnels. Anyway.
Yeah, I was Orthodox Jew,
Yeah.
but that's what, personally for me, that's what led me to Orthodoxy. I want to know, is this true? And if so, I kind of want all Christians to follow that. So that's where
all
I'm
right.
at.
Well, you can try to persuade me over time.
I will, trust me.
All right.
That's
well, look forward to that. Okay, it's time for Hoax Hate.
All right. Or Hoax
Where's my
Love.
button? I already lost. It's somewhere in here. All right, here we go.
And now, the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
How's this for Rich? The guy who was running the New York City office for the prevention of hate crimes now says he is the victim of a hate crime, or at least discrimination. This is Hassan Naveed, who was fired in April 2024 from the New York City Hate Crime Prevention Office. He says his termination was caused by Islamophobia.
Come on, man.
The lawsuit
we need a
was...
little bit. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'll say we need a little bit more Islamophobia in this country.
Okay. Well, maybe you like outgoing Mayor Eric Adams. Maybe he was just enough of an Islamophobe for you. Because the lawsuit was filed Tuesday in New York State Supreme Court. According to Naveed's complaint, tensions in his office under Mayor Eric Adams escalated after the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th, 2023. Naveed says Mayor Eric Adams criticized members of New York's Muslim community for not sufficiently condemning Hamas, even comparing some Muslims to KKK members. Naveed also says Muslim activist groups were excluded from meetings on hate crime prevention. Even if true, though, I don't really understand how that's how does that demonstrate that he was fired because he's Muslim? He might have just sucked at his job. And that's what they're saying, is he just sucked at his job.
Yeah.
Naveed was fired again in April 2024. The Adams administration, they cited performance issues in the decision to terminate him. And they gave some examples, delays in submitting reports and a rise in reported hate crimes during his tenure. And this is really the tough spot. If you're the hate crime prevention guy, it's a catch-22, rock in a hard place, If you succeed and you mitigate hate crimes and they drop, is your job really necessary anymore? Like, you need a healthy market of hate crimes for your job to be needed.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, why are you there?
It's just like all those journalists who were writing bad things about Trump before Biden took over, right? They lost their jobs. They lost their revenue.
Yeah. Although if you're a government employee, it's not hard to maintain uselessness for certain government jobs. So I'm sure he could survive. But if you fail, as they're saying he failed, and hate crimes increase, well, then you got to get somebody else in there who's actually good at the job to bring hate crimes down, to erase the necessity for his own job. It's a very bizarre situation. But the lawsuit is seeking a declaration that the firing was a violation of state and federal civil rights laws. Naveed wants an undisclosed payday, whatever amount of money, we don't know. But the lesson here for New York City, if they care about learning it, which of course they don't, because they're going to have a Muslim commie as their mayor in short order. But when you indulge in this sort of thing, an office that treats the classification of hate crime as a legitimate thing, which it's not. It's just like any other crime. It doesn't matter if you robbed someone out of hate or love. The point is you robbed them. It doesn't matter if you assault someone out of hate or love. It matters that you assaulted them. If you create an office that grants this distinction when it shouldn't even exist, of course you're going to attract the sort of people who indulge in the victimology, who want to be victims, who want a payday out of the victimhood. And so it's very ironic, though probably totally predictable, that the sort of person who would seek a job or even running the office of hate crime preventions is himself trying to get some sort of personal advantage, some sort of payday out of being a victim on the basis of his religion or race or whatever else. This is why you don't indulge in this stuff in the first place. But of course, New York can't help itself. And Mamdani will probably put him right back on the job as soon as he's back in office. But all right, any other points on Islamophobia you wanted to raise?
No, not really. I mean, New York City is starting to turn into its own little Muslim country.
No, just wait. It'll be
New Yorkistan is what it's going to be called.
Yeah, it'll be. Well, you got little Mogadishu in Minneapolis. New York will be little. I don't know. Take your pick. What city is Aladdin from? We'll go with that. What's the name of that city?
Baghdad, I think.
Is it actually Baghdad? I thought it was a fictional place. Need a fact check on that.
Probably, but I'm
Google what city is Aladdin from. Well, I talk
I'm
about
to do that right now. Yeah.
Brick Lady.
Go
and
ahead.
Actually, do you remember this lady? Does this swollen face ring a bell to you?
It sort of does.
Okay. Well, back in 2023, speaking of Mogadishu, a Somali woman named Rhoda Osman said she was attacked outside a nightclub in Houston. And she posted this video of herself with a swollen face. And she said some man bricked her face. I don't know if hit her with a brick, threw a brick at her face, assaulted her with a brick. because she refused to give him her phone number when asked. And there wasn't an allegation of racism in this particular attack. It was just rejected male rage against her, is what she said. Now, Osmond created a GoFundMe page on this story. She collected $42,000 in GoFundMe donations, but a detective who spoke with a witness at the scene, or a friend of hers who was there, said she didn't believe Osmond was hit with a brick. And so the detective went searching for security footage from neighboring businesses. Video that the detective secured showed Osmond and this male friend of hers arguing. And she actually hit him first during this argument. And then he hit her in the face with a water bottle. And that's how she got a swollen face. So the whole thing was a fraud. She was not attacked. She committed an attack, and then she got her ass kicked because she initiated that aggression. She was arrested and charged with felony theft by deception, because that's what she did. She stole all this GoFundMe money on fraudulent pretenses.
Yeah.
And so now she's now sentenced, and she's actually going to do prison time for this hoax, for this fraud, at least 90 days worth of it. And there's some other serious consequences for her as well. Here's some reporting this week.
Remember Rhoda Osmond? We talked about her a few times for the last couple of years. In 2023, she was known as the Brick Lady online. She made claims that a man threw a brick at her head outside of a bar in West Houston because she didn't give him her phone number. Well, she went on to collect $42,000 through a GoFundMe campaign she started after that. Well, a Harris County jury found her guilty of theft. She has to spend 90 days in jail, 10 years probation. She has to pay restitution, 10 years of no social media, which is big for her brand.
Well, all right.
And she got that wet on her face from a water bottle?
I am curious about the water bottle. Because that's a lot of swelling, like a plastic. I wonder, what are those fancy waters that come in glass bottles? Was it one of those?
I don't know. Was it a Yeti kind of cup?
That's true. It could have been one of those really durable Stanleys made of aluminum or whatever they are.
Because if she just got hit by a regular water bottle, she has to be the most fragile person ever.
Yeah, her face has the swelling looks like a potato under her skin. Yeah. That's a lot of swelling. But anyway, according to the charging documents here, that's actually not the first time she ran the brick scam.
Oh, really?
They say she did this in Minneapolis, where I assume she's from, as a Somali immigrant, or where she lived previously. At the time, she said this is 2020 in Minneapolis, she said she was assaulted by a private security guard and suffered a black eye, facial contusions, and leg injuries. She also raised some $40,000. She asked for $5,000 and raised something like $40,000 on GoFundMe after that incident. And it says in this story in NBC, it's unclear whether she received the money. And GoFundMe also took that campaign down. So that was a fraud too, and she wasn't even charged for that, from what I understand here. Mm-hmm. But also in this case, there was a friend of hers who previously lived with her in Minneapolis and tells investigators, yeah, that was a lie. I don't want any part of her scams, but that one was a lie too, just letting you know. But hey, hell of a career for the brick lady. I mean, she went to multiple cities and faked this brick attack twice and collected something pushing $100,000. For her troubles. She could have got away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling kids, or her friends who told detectives
Somali,
that shit didn't happen. Yeah. That's what the reports say.
Wow, is it in their blood to just go pirating all the time? That's what they do.
Well, maybe that is her natural habitat, and she should go back to the waves off the old Horn of Africa, and see if she can get herself a Captain Phillips and steal his treasures. But, okay, I mentioned at the top of the show that this is probably a first in the history of hoax hate, at least in my presentation of the topic on this stream in all its iterations, because I've done this as a weekly bit since 2016 or so, and I've almost never missed a week. In fact, most weeks I have more hoax hate cases than I can include in the show, and I have to eliminate a few. Mm-hmm. And in all that time, I don't think I've ever encountered a case of hoax love. And I believe this to be a case of hoax love of the week, coming from a recent interview with Dasha Burns at Politico and Jasmine Crockett, who, of course, is the congresswoman for Waffle House. And Jasmine Crockett says, everywhere I go, Republicans stop me and they say, I love Trump and I vote Republican. However, ma'am, I adore you too. I love you so much.
Wow. And as much as I go against him, I would imagine that I get some of those folk too. I remember when we were doing our art competition in my district, and obviously it's open to all the kids in the district. And I remember a father coming up to me and telling me, I appreciate you for doing this competition. My daughter loved participating. I am a Republican, but I love you. I have been in all kinds of cities and airports and otherwise where people walk up to me, and of course they don't have an R on their forehead, but they tell me that they have a difference when it comes to politics, but they love me. And so I think it is that actually concerns him. And it is a reason that he wants to make sure that he is doing everything that he can to stop us.
It never happened. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication.
Do you buy it?
Hell no. That's just like, what's her name again? AOC making up some stories about, I don't know, that whole Jan 6 thing. Why do they always fantasize about, well, people actually love me. They say, oh, you're a great person. I'm a Trump supporter and everything. Bitch, nobody said that to you.
That's what I find so confusing is most of the time, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, the rest of the people usually pushing this racist country narrative. She's telling me that she can't walk the street without Klansmen coming up to her and saying,
boo, fucking nigger.
But also guys in MAGA hats who say, don't mind my friend over there. I really
actually
love
admire
you.
you, strong, independent black woman.
Will you please sign my poster of you that I keep in my bedroom at home? That's one of those, it's like, do you think it happened even once? The best I could say is this happened to her one time and she's making it sound like this happens all the time. Do you think the whole thing is made up totally? It never happened at all? Or did she take one story of a guy who maybe Jasmine Crockett was nice to his daughter and he's like, you're not so bad. And then she made it up based on that. What do you think?
I think it's all made up.
So it started, it was totally fraudulent from the go. It's true
Totally
hoax love.
Yes. It's
Okay.
like, oh yeah, Republicans actually love me despite me going against Trump. Even if I do grant what you just said, he's probably was just being nice. And polite.
Yeah,
he probably didn't. We have a tendency to have a bit more self-control than the left side does. It's like, I'm not gonna totally dog this person out, so I'm gonna just be nice. All right.
I can see that happening. There's a political event and the daughter's there and they have a nice conversation. He's like, sure. I still think you're a stupid bitch, but you're not that you're not that stupid of a bitch.
You're not a massive cunt today.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll get more episodes of Hoax Love in the future. I'll keep an eye out for them because that's a twist I haven't seen before. Okay. Did you see this episode this week where a bunch of teachers, public school teachers at a high school in Arizona were accused of mocking the Charlie Kirk murder with their costumes? Have you seen this image?
No, I haven't, and they're all women, aren't they? There's at least one guy there. He's probably gay.
There is a dude. There's
two guys there.
There's three. All the people in the middle are guys. Yeah.
Oh, that fat fuck right there. I thought that was a woman.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know. One of them's kind of hard to tell, but there's at least two dudes. Okay. This might be hoax hate. This might be real hate. I'm still not sure. And frankly, I find this entire case confusing, but I'll do my best to treat it as fairly as possible. But again, this is Vail, Arizona. There is a public high school there. There's the math department. These are all public high school math teachers. And they posted a photo of their Halloween costume. Mm-hmm. Everybody interprets that to be a mockery of the murder of Charlie Kirk. If you're listening to this on audio or you otherwise can't see it, you got people in white t-shirts with blood on the left side, black text on their shirts that says problem solved. There's a social media uproar about this. What are you guys doing? This is ridiculous. And then they take down the post and you have the school superintendent saying it's a little more complicated than that. And then there's some evidence for the complication. Let's listen to the news report first here.
Here are the shirts worn by 8 teachers at Cienega High School. The words "problem solved" splattered with fake blood, matching the killing of Kirk nearly 2 months ago. District Superintendent John Carruth apologized, writing that the intent of the math club was not to cause concern and that more thought and care will be taken in the future. In a now deleted statement, the superintendent says the shirts were a reference to solving math problems and were part of a math-themed Halloween costume purchased and worn last year, but did not provide photos of last year's event.
Okay. Now, at face value,
Really?
Joshy, when I see this, my gut level reaction would be, yeah, that's mockery of Charlie Kirk for
Yeah, they
several
even got
reasons.
the jeans on.
Yeah, well, it's like the white
Like-
shirt that Charlie was.
Yeah.
Charlie had a white shirt with the freedom text. Okay, check.
Yeah.
They have blood only on the left side of them, which is where
Yeah.
Charlie got shot. Check.
Hmm.
The text on their shirt says "problem solved," which to me implies like Charlie
Yeah,
was a
Charlie was a
problem.
problem.
This is the solution.
Yeah.
So when I look at this at first glance, that's exactly what I think. These are people mocking Charlie Kirk and they're public school teachers, and that's a problem.
Mhm.
But here's the complication. You heard in the news report there that the superintendent said these costumes were purchased and worn last year too. Now, Andrew Colvett, who the hell is this? Clicked on the wrong thing,
I don't
guess.
know what that is.
Must have clicked the ad over here or something like that. Anyway, Andrew Colvett is Turning Point staff member who I believe brought this story to attention. I think he's the one. He got an email from somebody, or he's the one who kind of made this story catch fire. And he's now backed off, and he shared a screenshot that supposedly shows an email from Halloween 2024, as in last year, and it's showing the teachers in the same shirts. And there's text there that says this email was sent at 9 a.m. on October 31st, 2024. Okay. Now, a lot of people are questioning the authenticity of this because you could type text into any email and fake that. There's also questions about the legitimacy of the photo. Normally, I'm not quick to accuse images of being AI generated or something.
Yeah, but it's getting better.
Tell the one thing I find odd, and people are trying to point out oddities about this photo. God, actually, can you see it? I might have to play with the zoom here because you might not be able to see it. Let me see.
What am I looking for exactly?
Okay, do you maybe that helps a little bit. Do you see, okay, the bottom center under the blue chair, there's a foot, like a shoe.
Yeah, I see it.
Is that the woman on the left's foot? The black-haired woman? Like, that foot placement seems very odd. I agree. Doesn't that seem like whose foot is that?
It's a little blurry, but it does look like somebody's foot. No, I'm looking at it.
No, like, I agree it looks like a foot, but whose foot is it? Because it doesn't really line up with anyone's leg.
Well, and it's too far out too.
So people have questions about whether this is a real photo or if it was generated by something. That's a lot of the back and forth on X. But assuming this is a real photo, that they did get these costumes last year and they did send out a photo of it on Halloween 2024, I still have a lot of questions here, which is to say, what is this costume?
Yeah.
Even if I remove the Charlie Kirk context and I grant your point that you had these last year, I guess it's not that they owe me an explanation, and I'm not trying to pearl clutch and be offended here. I'm saying I genuinely don't, without the Charlie Kirk context, I don't understand these costumes. What is the bit here? The best explanation I've seen, you decide if you buy this, but one of the top replies on X is that this is a play on a common saying in math and engineering, which is problem solved. I came out bloody and bruised, but I still got it done. So that's something that is commonly said among math people and engineering people, I guess.
Back in high school, I had an engineering major, right? I've never heard anybody say that.
You've never heard someone, I was bloodied and bruised, but I solved the problem.
No, I've never heard anybody say that.
To the extent I believe this is a real email screenshot, and to the extent that the source of the story is personally satisfied here, he's saying he's satisfied that this was not an attack on Charlie Kirk. I mean, okay. I guess I'll say this is a misunderstanding. I would like clarification on what the meaning of the costumes is, because This is like a 6'7" joke, you know, or a JD Vance's fat face. I'm like, okay, you're telling me this. I just don't get it. But all right. Very odd. So we'll leave it at that. But anything else you want to say about this costume before we catch up with Super Chat and call it a night?
It's just a terrible costume. That's
it. Well, we are the kings of great costumes on this show. So, I mean, really, nobody can live up to that.
I did retire that suit, by the way. I threw it away as soon as we were done.
You didn't? What do you mean retired? Did you hang on to it, or are you getting rid of it?
No, I threw it away. I couldn't return it.
You threw it away?
Yeah.
Why would you? Even the beard?
Yeah, dude, I hated that beard. I could not do that beard.
We could have raffled it. I threw it away. Actually, I've never raffled them off, but I have, at least like for money or something. But prior costumes I've had, I've given them away to members of the audience who wanted them. And I think sometimes I've done, like when multiple people wanted them, I drew it by lottery.
I can understand yours because yours is actually creative. You can just buy mine at a store.
Yeah, but still, it's the one that Joshy wore on the show.
Well, somebody will find it in the trash heap somewhere.
All right, we'll catch up with Super Chat. We'll call it a night. Producer Tim says, so despite all the medical bullshit my parents have been through, they somehow managed to sell their house and secure an apartment 2 streets away from the ocean front. It's been such a blessing to achieve that under the circumstances. Well, congratulations, and glad to hear things for your family are working out.
We love you. You're very special.
I got to give a quick refresh here. All the best to producer Tim. Let me hop over to Rumble while I wait for that to reload. Where did I leave off? I left off with Laughing Boy there. People need to get things right. USAID was a donation with nothing in return for the U.S. This deal requires them to continue trading beef with the U.S. Prices have been high since COVID shut down Smithfield. Yeah, I know. Well, I know that to say that this is a bailout in the strictest sense of the word, like we just give you money with no strings attached, would be inaccurate. Of course, it's a currency swap. And I'm not saying Kyla said that, but for people to understand, it's a currency swap, so we get their currency. The strings that I've seen, I don't know if the beef trade is tied to this or not. That's just something I'm not keen on. But I do know that, as Trump and Besson have said, the aid is contingent upon them pursuing certain policies and not going back down the road of massive government socialistic spending. So it's not a bailout in the sense that there are no strings. There are strings, and hopefully they benefit our country. But point taken. There are distinctions that matter here. GR token S word. Hey my. Oh, he says hey my K words, but I don't have the K word ready. Hey my
Kaniga.
That's right. Sorry I missed so many streams, but I'm here now. Treat All Souls Day with proper respect.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to that guy.
Thanks for stopping back in. Also says, I have to disagree with her. We clearly found out that USAID was actually undermining the government and making enemies. We are not using it to make allies or friends. Yeah, obviously I don't agree that USAID is a beneficial program, but I want to make sure to stay on topic with what we're trying to talk about, which is not necessarily USAID. So I know sometimes people might get frustrated that I don't necessarily challenge on this point or that point, but USAID, we go deeply into that, and all of a sudden we haven't talked about the whole point of our conversation. So thank you, GR. GR says, I finally disagree with Josh on something. Halloween and Dia de los Muertos, so Day of the Dead, are both derived from the Catholic Church All Saints Day and All Souls Day, and actually exist independent from each other. I have to plead ignorance, as we did last weekend. I don't know the origins of these holidays. I know there's dispute about whether they're Christian in origin or not. I can't tell you. Not up on the history of that, but
well, you also
I guess he disagrees with you.
Well, he also has a disagree with Purpose of the Ages, because he's also saying that's not derived from a Christian holiday.
Thank you, GR. GR has a few more. Actually, I'm just going to read through GRs here since there are a few more. I don't care if ICE starts blasting at rioters. They are the ones being physically attacked for doing their job. These brainwashed bots are very violent and getting out of control. I mean, it is crazy in Chicago and a lot of these cities where the police are just refusing to even help them if they come under attack. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes it gets messy, and I know people have complaints when police are perceived as being a little heavy-handed. They're not even protected from basic level assaults by police in these cities. So at some point, you just become a guy defending yourself too. Whether you're wearing the badge or not, you're being attacked by other people and you have to defend yourself. We have seen, I Has there been a straight up ICE murder yet? I'm not sure that's happened, but of course they've taken shots at ICE agents several times. You have to assume these people want you dead, and all it takes is one crazy to shoot you.
You don't even have to assume that they do want you dead.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity, they will.
They're just bad shots so far. They need to get... No, I'm not going to do it. Never mind. It's poor taste. It's going to make jokes about left-wing marksmanship, but some of those shots landed, so it's... I'm not going to go there. Also says, I agree with Josh. One of my e-girls is Canadian, and she always wants to debate American politics. We're clearly more important people and way more impactful and interesting than them or their country. Trying to be nice to the Canadians.
Look, no, they need to join us and quit pussyfooting around, all right? We make them important. That's the thing. You can fight me on that. That's why Crowder is over here, not over there.
I felt bad for the Canadians because they lost the World Series so harshly the other night.
As deserved as it is.
I felt so conflicted. I'm a baseball fan, and I like the Twins, of course, and you can rip on the Twins and the state of Minnesota all you want. But I like it's Game 7 of the World Series, so no matter who's playing, of course I'm going to tune in to see that. When baseball is at its highest pressure in that way, there's something great about it. I know baseball isn't for everybody, but I'll watch a Game 7. So I turn it on, and I'm like, I don't have an emotional attachment to either team.
Yeah.
I hate the Dodgers because they're kind of like the Yankees West. It's LA. There's a lot of things. You have all the accusations against Ohtani and all that. But the Blue Jays are Canadian. So I hate the Dodgers enough that I was kind of still hoping the Blue Jays would take it. And it looked like they were going to, and then the Dodgers stole it from them. And sorry, Canadians, that was a rough one.
I have a lot of coworkers who are Braves fans, and they always talk about the Braves. So I just kind of listen, nod my head, and it's like, all right, yeah, that's interesting.
If you think football talk sucks, just wait until you hear baseball talk. Also says GR, go ahead.
No, I find listening to baseball games is actually more enjoyable for me than actually watching it.
Baseball in person, amazing.
Sucks.
No, it's great. It's so much better. It's the best sport live. For sure.
No way.
I'm not going to sit down and watch all 9 innings of a... If the Twins were in the World Series, I would probably watch all of it attentively. That's it. Other than that, it's like background material. I like to have a baseball game on in the summer when you're grilling or something, but I'm not going to sit and watch every pitch. That's for psychopaths.
Yeah.
Even when you're at the game, the best part is baseball is slower paced. Not so much anymore because they've installed some new rules to pick it up, but it's a pace that is friendlier to the social aspect of the stadium. And generally, it's easier to watch, too, than football. Yeah. But I digress. I live out here in the middle of nowhere. We don't have football or baseball, at least at the professional level.
I learned that we have a rugby team here in Chattanooga.
What are they called?
I forgot. But we also have the Chattanooga Red Wolves, which is a soccer group. So, and I think they recently played their championship.
They, I don't know. There's enough. I'm trying to make some kind of race-based joke about Nuga, but it's not hitting my mind right now. It's 2.5 hours. My brain is shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, GR also says, no such thing as Islamophobia. I'm confident a significant fear of Islam is incredibly rational, if not necessary. In fact, I find it hard to believe you can fear Islam too much, never enough. So we went from the fear that they were crashing planes into skyscrapers and not noticing and caring, we're getting off of here, or getting off of them here to conquer us. Aladdin was actually Chinese. Disney had a Groba. I thought Aladdin was like a mesh of Arab and Indian.
Yeah, he is. He's nothing. He's nowhere near Chinese. That's an Arabian tale.
Maybe, I don't know.
So maybe he's thinking of Asia Minor.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's like that. It's on the Asian continent somewhere. So technically,
technically, I wouldn't call him Chinese. So he would be Asian if that's the case.
Yeah. Also says, I'm so tired of this lying propaganda about ICE. The leftist tools keep whining and claiming they'll be putting ICE agents on some Nazi trial bullshit. Their whining is really annoying. Reddit tards. Well, you can't find anything not annoying on Reddit. That's your fault for looking at Reddit.
Yeah.
Also says, do we ever get any Yellowstone new spin-offs? Are they all off now? No more Sheridan. I'm pretty sure the Rip and Beth one is absolutely on. Last I heard, it's in production. And I'm pretty sure there's like a 1940s prequel too. I thought that was confirmed also.
I'm totally lost on that.
You're not we haven't talked Yellowstone before?
No, you have. I just never watched it.
You just you don't care about Yellowstone.
Who cares?
Do you prefer Yellowstone or baseball?
I've never seen Yellowstone, and it sounds exciting from what you guys have been talking about.
It's probably better than baseball for you then.
Yeah, but my thing is that I have to mentally prepare myself to watch series or movies because
it's a big, especially when you're behind. Like there's 5 seasons, basically 6 seasons of Yellowstone.
Oh Lord,
that's a lot to get through. But it's kind of like Breaking Bad. I always tell if you like Breaking Bad or not within like 3 or 4 episodes. Same thing with Yellowstone. If you like this or not pretty early on.
Now, I watched the first season of Stranger Things, and I never watched it since because that was it. I know they got like 5 seasons or whatever in a movie.
The last one is coming up. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's coming out in like a month or something. End of the month.
I couldn't be bothered. The first season was good enough for me.
It was one of those that it's one of those shows that the first season is a near masterpiece, and then you have to keep doing it. It's like, why do you have to? To be fair, I think Stranger Things has hung on pretty well, in my opinion. But this new season is going to be weird because they're all going to be like 30 years old.
Yeah,
it's going to be a weird one. Transphobic Tony, Mainers vote yes on 1, no on 2. So the upcoming election in Maine, voter ID for Maine. That's what the issue is. We have to defeat the Democratic Socialists. Don't forget about the party in Augusta at the Elks Club in Augusta, Maine. Maine rising. Well, Godspeed to transphobic Tony and everybody in Maine.
We love you. You're very special.
Everybody's got something exciting going on in their cities, and here in Chattanooga is pretty much the same.
We don't have there's city elections here, but I'm out of city limits, so I don't even get a vote in that. I don't think I have anything to vote on currently.
Chattanooga is becoming a bit more liberal, but we're kind of a mixed bag, right? So you have the Westerners who coming over here buying up all the land, says, "Oh, I love the culture here and everything." But the unique thing about Tennessee, right, at least here in the South, is that when you get Californians, a lot of the Southerners are starting to dislike them, and a lot of Californians are starting to be a little more quiet where they're from because they kind of know that we don't like them as much. So why don't you stay over there?
Good. I want them to hide their license plates when they arrive.
Yeah,
it's a proper state.
I was like, "Hey, look at this motherfucker right here. Let's get him."
Ramsey C. Check out No Quarter November by Canon Press. Or Canon...
No Quarter?
Canon. No, this is the author. Canon Pess. Sorry, the font is awfully small in my Rumble chats. You will probably appreciate some Christians standing up to the culture and demanding change instead of softly requesting a change. He says that's faggotry. No.
That is faggotry. And this is... I'm not going to get into it, but it is faggotry. I will say that.
I'm not aware. I'll have to check it out. And thank you for the rec, and thank you for supporting the show. Ninja Kitty says, if Trump came out against oxygen, glad trash bag stock would go through the roof. It makes zero difference what he does. The Dems will contort it into an evil act. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see the whole Tylenol thing?
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago, and you had pregnant women like chugging Tylenol to own Trump.
Mm-hmm.
It was also about RFK, because RFK was pushing the link between Tylenol and pregnancy and autism. Mm-hmm. And I guess he's walked that back a little bit, I think I saw. You wonder if that's a change of heart or if there was maybe a threat of legal action. I don't know. But
I don't know.
Good on Odyssey. Thank you guys over there. I think we have a few more on YouTube and Tippy. Got to get to those. Oh, yeah. We have quite a few more over here. Injured Guardian. At the 08 inauguration, Mike wore a yellow dress. This is Michael Robinson. Okay. Our former first alleged lady. Several media folks insisted that we call it, this is the callback to earlier, the reference earlier. Several media folks insisted we call it lemongrass, which no one says in real life. So that was the color of the dress was lemongrass? News to me. I don't remember the dress. I remember Obama's tan suit, but I don't remember Mike's lemongrass dress. Hopefully it smelled as good as the Hero Soap, which you can get for 10% off using promo code MCListener at herosoapcompany.com. Not affiliated with Michael Robinson's dress in any way. Just a good, high-quality product.
Yeah, I need to get the Western razors. I hate having facial hair, but it grows back insanely quick.
All metal made in the USA.
I need to
buy
get
it
some.
once, last you forever. westernrazor.com, promo code Matt10.
Yeah.
All right. Injured Guardian, the cat is very offended by the correction.
Yeah. Let me call out somebody who keeps sending telepathic messages to my feline. Thank you. He's usually pretty well behaved when I'm on stream, but he was just not having it today.
I saw him walk by, I think just the one time, but
no, he doesn't. When I'm doing the stream, it's like he knows and he just kind of stays where he usually or hides somewhere. But not tonight. He's been calling for my attention. He's jumped up here a couple of times. If you saw me doing this, if I seem to be leaning, I'm petting him so he'll behave.
Thank you, Injured Guardian. Purpose of the Ages, Joshy, I'm not a killjoy. I'm trolling the chat and dominating with my dollars. Money talks, and the poors have to flail in the lower class free chat. Also, I just need something to say while supporting the show. I love watching. Well, once again, I really appreciate it.
We love you. You're very special.
Thanks for supporting the show, but also thanks for raising an important point. And people agree, disagree. I think these are fun discussions to have. So I don't think there's any problem with... I'm not going to be mad at anybody in being as purely principled in their beliefs as they possibly can. And obviously I'm not a... Whatever principles I haven't fully extended or applied them to Halloween. But I can appreciate somebody who's as thorough as possible in living out... not just what they believe to be correct, because that makes it sound like it's some morally relativistic thing. I mean, anybody who is aiming their life toward Christ and wants to be as particular about that as possible, I'm not going to be mad at you for it. I think you're doing a great thing.
I mean, obviously, I didn't get a chance to grow up with Halloween because of my parents, right? If I had kids, I would still want them to participate in the festivities because it's fun, right? Obviously, if they get too into it, then I might caution them and say, "Hey, listen, this is just for fun, right?"
Yeah, that's too demony.
Yeah, we're not going to do.
You're allowed 2 horns, but not 3. That mask is too scary.
All right, but at the same time, yeah, you do want to keep your principles because a lot of Halloween is kind of demonic. Let's just be real here.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think to make the argument that it is. Compliant, you have to acknowledge that there's a line. Like there are things about Halloween that are clearly over a line that you won't accept. There is a line somewhere. So what is the nature of that? And to call it demonic or anti-God, I don't think is a mischaracterization. So I take his point at its purest for sure. But I'm still gonna do Halloween fun.
Now, for me personally,
maybe I'll come around.
Because I didn't grow up with Halloween, I don't really care for it as much. So I know I did it for the stream, but that was just for the stream. Had you not asked me to do a costume, I probably just would have not. The costume I threw away, and
dude, I would have kept it. That's such a crazy, weird costume. I can't believe you just tossed it. Send it to me.
It's too late now. Oh, one more thing. Dangerous Spaces says that he has a couple of super chats. I think that you may have missed.
We're still going.
Okay.
It's, well, he might have. Actually, I think I got a message from him. Let's see.
Yeah, he says check your phone.
He says there are some missing from Great White. So let me see. I don't think those are coming through.
I got you.
Yeah,
covered,
I'm not
right?
seeing the ones from Great White. So I can try to remind me before we get out of here. I can look elsewhere to find. I can look in YouTube's system to try to find Great Whites. We'll get those before we close, but thanks Great White. VV, regarding DC switching constantly, this is very true. I work on building multi-million-dollar systems based on X policy for federal employees. Then when a new administration takes over, we scrap it and build a new one, rinse and repeat until civil war. Yeah, well, first of all,
I am not going to be niggardly.
Thanks for supporting the show. And it's whether you do business with the federal government or they're just passing nonsense legislation every 5 seconds. The only thing worse than centralized power in DC would be fickle centralized power in DC, where they just they control everything and they change their mind every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a disaster. So hopefully we don't see that. Long Dong John says, go ahead.
Oh, you know what will fix that? Monarchy.
Well, unless you have a fickle king, then it's a big problem.
Then you overthrow him and install a new king.
All right, well, we got some overthrowing to do around here, too.
Yes.
Long Dong John, Are y'all going to discuss the Diwali cow poop festival? I swear, the more I see from that country, I assume India, the more I think we'd be better off if a giant wall was built around it. It would have made a great surprise cringe, though. I don't know what that is. I think I saw an X video about this. It is a Hindu festival splashing cow dung on each other. Wasn't there a YouTuber who went there and filmed?
I have no clue.
Yes. This is the guy. Oh, sorry. It was on Reddit, but it got removed by the Reddit moderators. Tyler Oliveira. I've seen this guy's stuff before. I can't remember, but I know he's done good work elsewhere. I don't know if I can play the video because I don't have it handy. Mm-hmm. And frankly, it's always a risk to play things that I don't know what's in there and they're a little bit gross in nature because YouTube might punish me for that. But I can put this up there. This is...
and I'm watching one right now. It is cow dung. They're just bathing in that crap.
American YouTuber Tyler Oliveira struggling in the festival as villagers hurl dried cow dung at each other as part of a post-Diwali Hindu tradition. That video went viral. Rising on the present anti-India wave in the U.S. Well, if you are throwing shit at each other and that's like a neighborhood tradition.
They do worship cows. They hold cows.
What about cow poop?
Well, you use that for fertilizer. You don't throw it on yourself.
Well, that's what they're doing. I don't know what this is about.
That's because they're backwards people that need civilization, right? Alexander failed us on that one.
This has got to smell insanely bad. That's all I know.
Well, cow manure, I'm not going to even say anything.
Mixed cow manure with Indian spices?
Yeah. Probably.
Okay. No, so that's news to me, but I did see it circulating, but I haven't looked at it in detail. Thank you, Long Dong John. Injured Guardian, studies show that we can get gullible idiots to believe anything that starts with the word studies show. You don't loathe the media enough. Yeah, you always should be a little bit critical with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is with reference to the finding about church attendance or not, but
it probably is.
But yeah, I mean, you have to evaluate methodology for that reason because you can get a bunk study to show just about anything if you want to. And
yeah,
so
and like I said before, it's not totally wrong. There is a surge or an uptick in church attendance and everything, but that distinction on why, right? And then you look at who's reporting it or not. So the whole no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not like it's being picked up by mainstream media. It's picked up by. It's not even picked up. It's published by the, as far as I can tell, rather small or. I've just never seen a lot of analysis from this particular research firm or polling firm before. So it's not getting like a bunch of it. It's not getting it pushed or attention from the wrong people or people I find suspicious. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's see. Levi Smith. Oh, here's some thoughts about it. Barna Group. He knows a little bit about it. They've been around for 40 years. They started in 1984. Pretty well respected among seminaries. I believe many in Gen Z and Gen Alpha are interested in Christianity. I'm hoping they follow Jesus. So I hope that's true. Yeah, I hope they're... Maybe the reason I haven't encountered them is maybe they just do more research in religious areas that I haven't followed, in great detail. So that's good to see. Producer Tim also says, America gave us no grace. Mike, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Obama had what should have been several scandals. Drone struck American citizens, the 2012 Benghazi attacks, and even more like those. The media only criticized his tan suit. That's right, it was scandal-free. Scandal-free. Remember when Obama used to say that? Scandal-free. That's a terrible Obama, but he did say that. No, it was not. It was not scandal-free. And, yeah, the droning of an American citizen afar. That's a pretty rough one. Now, I know there are a lot of questions about the behavior of that guy.
Yeah.
But he was an American citizen who was straight up murdered by the president without a trial. That's gotta have legal questions about that one too.
Real quick before I forget, the whole Aladdin question.
Yeah.
There's some debate, but it appears to be Baghdad, like I said, but it's also kind of a mix of, I would say Turkish.
It's What do you mean you would say? Are they saying that or are they not?
Well, if it's a combination of India and even Arabic, right? You do have the Turks. So they're kind of a mix of both. So it seems
No.
more Turkey.
Your interpretation is it's Turkey.
Yeah, but supposedly it takes place in Baghdad.
Before I forget, I'm gonna catch up and thank you for the update there. Now we know it's either Baghdad or Turkey. Close enough.
Close enough.
Great White. I don't know why these super chats weren't getting picked up by my system, but I can see them now. Do not call me a food stamp American. That would be very racist. Also says, Jesus Christ is Lord and King. And it's got some kind of fancy font. I don't even know how you did that font, but I wonder if that's why my system rejected it, because I have a system that aggregates all of these. And anyway, glad we got that. And thanks to Tim for making sure we caught that one. Let me get back to YouTube. Injured Guardian, all modern Rhodas should emulate the biblical one. So this must be a reference to the brick lady, because her name is Rhoda. And I have to plead ignorance. Who is the Rhoda in the Bible? Rhoda was a servant girl in the house of Mary, the mother of John Mark, who appears in the book of Acts 12:13 through 17. And right now, Bible study leader Robert is out there somewhere like, dude, we talked about Rhoda in the Acts study and you don't remember? I'm sorry, I forgot. He probably did talk about Rhoda. But if you're interested in Acts, of course, there's a long and thorough Acts study on my Bible study page on my website that our friend Robert put together and that we participated in for something like 50 sessions of it. So Rhoda's probably in there somewhere, and I should know that. But I didn't. Thank you, Injured Guardian. VV, Jasmine's last name is appropriate, Crockett. But why is that appropriate? Is it because she's a croc or something like that?
Bingo. Crock of shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Must be that. Thank you, VV. We'll go with that. Jasmine Crock of shit. Got her. I think we're all set.
Yeah, my son is yelling at me again.
Oh, but there's one more from GR on Rumble. You're thinking of Disney, the actual story. Yeah, okay. So you're talking about something that predates. I didn't know I thought it was a Disney original, but
no,
okay.
That came from, I think Aladdin is like 101 Arabian Nights.
That's what he's saying. It's the Arabian Nights or 1001 Nights.
Yeah,
is actually about
a
Chinese teen from a fictional Chinese city in the Muslim Empire. Okay, so that's the original story. Glad we have clarification there. Wait, what?
It's Disney, so never mind. I shouldn't question it.
Well, I think we're all set. Appreciate all you super chatters. Thank you for that. Anything else you want to mention before we're out of here, Joshy?
Like I said before, the whole surge in Christianity does seem nice. I would just, anybody who's going to church, just ask those questions that I asked. Why are you there? Right?
Do what there?
Why are you there?
No, but what are you supposed to, what's the nature of the request? What do you, is this a lumberjack task or are you?
Oh, it's just, I don't know.
No, you go back and forth, correctly pronouncing the word and incorrectly pronouncing it.
Asked.
And I want consistency in my production.
Sorry. Sorry. But yeah,
anyway,
ask those. Yeah, ask those questions.
There you go.
Yeah. All
right. Well, we will call it there. Appreciate everybody's participation in the live production. Actually, hold on. I got another. I might have missed one. Did you see the very first rumble from Yakko? I'm pretty sure I did, didn't I? Yeah, that's the first one I got. Oh, wait. Maybe I missed it. Did I not get that one? I thought I got that one. Or did I start with Canadian Egg? Anyway, Yakko, 1977, stabbing attacks at the hands of invaders the Brits led into their country is as common as tea time. Brits now want to be allowed to have pepper spray. I'll take the 2A. Don't be like the UK. Yeah.
Bingo.
Did I read that one earlier or did I miss it?
I don't remember that one, so you may have missed it.
I guess I missed it. Sorry about that, Yakko. Sorry I made you wait from first to the very end, but appreciate your support for the show. And yeah, things are... There was a story I was going to talk about from the UK a week or two ago, but I decided to make a different video. But there was a case where another migrant... It wasn't a rape case. I think he made sexual advances toward a teen girl, something like that. Mm-hmm. And this migrant was put on trial and convicted for this sexual assault. And there was a protest of the migrant that got a little bit January 6th-y. I think there were some attacks on, or like fighting with police. You know, it got a little violent. The protest got rowdy. But it ended up being that the protesters, the rioters, they were sentenced to longer prison terms than the migrant who actually was convicted of sexually assaulting a teen girl.
Wow.
So, the UK, rough times in the UK.
They're being taken over by the infidels. The UK is no longer British.
Well, we'll see who's an infidel very shortly. It seems like the British people themselves are the infidels, and they're being cast out of their own country.
What was the last crusade called? I think it's time for another one.
I don't know. I'm not a Crusades expert, but
I think it was the Fourth Crusade, but there's some minor ones too. We need a no, there was 7 of those. We need an 8th crusade.
we need many crusades at this point. Not nearly enough. More than you can count, I guess. All right, we will call it there. Appreciate everyone's participation in the live show this evening. Thanks to our super chatters. Thanks to our live chatters for making the live production a success. Hey, if you're listening later on demand, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Appreciate you too. Thanks to my guest, Kyla Turner. Find her YouTube channel, Not So Erudite, her X account at Not So Erudite as well, linked in the description. Thanks to Joshy Boy for sitting in tonight on short notice. Really appreciate his availability and his extra effort to keep the production going. Thank you for that, sir.
And forgive my cat for interrupting.
Yeah. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance as always, making sure I don't miss super chats. Appreciate that. Hey, find everything show related at mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.gay if you prefer brevity.
Are you a gay man?
I'm back on Sunday and Wednesday nights. Have a great night until then, and a great week as well. Appreciate it.
Good night, everyone.